Anti-derivative Jill.
Hello, everybody, and welcome.
Good tea. Nice house.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Plomeek Teatime number 52. I am your host, Anti-Derivative Jill, and I am absolutely flabbergasted that today is Friday the 13th, and I get to talk about one of my favorite Canadian science fiction films, Coob. I am joined in the panel by the always effervescent Tiger Stripes. Hello, Tiger Stripes.
Hello.
And I also, my valiant co-host, Scotty R37. It's nice to see you again, Scotty.
Great to be here.
It's a pleasure.
Follow
so
me on
anyway,
Twitter.
yeah, follow me on X 3 times. So that was our Friday the 13th gag.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. This is an incredible 3D puzzle horror movie. I suppose it's also considered a science fiction movie. And I'm very excited to talk about it. And not just because it has mathematics in it, but I'm definitely excited also about prime numbers and permutations, Cartesian planes, and factors. And I want to say hello to the chat. Franco Walker, Canadian Spider-Man, was here to remind everybody to please consider hitting the thumbs up like button if you want a free way to help Jill grow this channel. Thank you, Spidey. Also, hello to Jim and McPhoenix. Glad to see you again, Miss McPhoenix. Whoa! Scotty R37 sent a super chat saying, Goob.
I don't like that guy. Franco. I like Franco's spelling much better.
It is. It's more phonetically correct.
Whatever. Coob.
And hello to Bird of Prey 5. Kapla, have you seen this movie, Bird of Prey 5? Do you want to talk about it? If you have. Edge of Time. Hey, Edge of Time. And also Gavin Blackburn. He says, I remember this being a great little movie. The sequel was quite good too. Watched it on the Sci-Fi Channel before it rebranded to Sippy.
Well, and it's interesting because when I was looking up this movie, I found out that there was a Japanese remake, and I was like, I have to see the Japanese remake. I haven't seen it.
I bet it's good. But I heard the sequels to this one weren't so great because it wasn't made by the same people.
I've only seen the first one.
I'm glad Gavin enjoyed the sequel. Maybe I could be wrong. I haven't seen it, so I can't really say. But I have seen Cube, and I adore it. Hello to Pop Culture Curator.
Ahoy.
And you've seen Cube. Tiger Stripes watched it for the first time last night.
It's true.
And hello to Mega Reacts, and also
Mega.
Raymond Feliciano, who he's listening while he's working today.
Raymond.
Like a doozer.
I think they super glued this packet shut, says Franco. Oh, a packet of tea biscuits. Yes, there's a point. Yes, Tiger Stripe. I was going to say that. You know, you're in my mind.
Yes, at some point, resistance is futile.
You give up. You decide that your teeth are not worth losing.
No, don't you ever use
Shut up
for that sort of thing ever.
I resemble that accusation.
Well, you need to look into that and take care of
I did. I got him fixed. Tiger.
Oh,
I have teeth again.
Yeah,
I know,
looking
right?
forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Very important.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't really interact with people without a grill.
Oh, yeah. It's not even that. I don't know how much we don't really want to dive deep into that, but bad teeth can lead to a heart attack or stroke. And then worry about people.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Hey, Spidey.
Canadian Spider-Man. Hey, have you seen this movie, Spidey? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah,
I'm super,
He's
super
Canadian.
excited to talk about it. I wouldn't mind having a party here. If someone knows the movie and they want to be on the panel, just let me know in the chat.
Yeah, there was actually a point in the film where I said to myself, a Canadian film.
Oh, I
Yes.
can't wait. I can't wait to hear what part it was.
Well, speaking of parts of the movie, I have these slides, but you don't have to stick to what's on the slide if you don't want to. If you want to talk about a different part of the movie, you can.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that. No, this is your
What?
show.
Oh,
This
no,
is
no,
your
no.
show. The slideshow's important
No,
to
that's
people.
part of my show. Is you're not bound by it. And Franco Walker says, if there's maths involved, I won't be watching this film. I don't understand maths. No, they explain it so that anybody could watch it. You don't have to know math to watch it. You just have to know.
How do you explain that you're from Europe without saying that you're from Europe? It's that you put an S at the end of math.
Well, I understand why, because it's called mathematics. So it makes sense to say maths. But I don't say maths.
We don't generally.
Well, we
America.
don't. No, we don't.
This is the thing, and like being Canadian in terms of spelling, I take the U's out of like color or honor because you're supposed to streamline the English language, and so what I do is math is already plural, so it's like saying deers or beers.
I was listening to the Salty Nerd podcast for this, just a little bit of it, and it said that they said that they had to use halogen lights because LEDs weren't in use yet, so it was really hot in this cube.
I can imagine.
The set design on this. Yes.
The set design is incredible on this because it is all one set, but because they use the different filters, the gels, I suppose, for each room, it feels different. This is an incredible effect.
I agree completely. And there is just one room. This movie was released in 1997 as an independent science fiction horror film directed and partially written by Vincenzo Natali. And I just think this film is so incredible. So I'm so glad you guys are here to talk about it. I just also learned from that same podcast that this was actually a practical effect, not CGI. So this was really creepy.
Yeah.
If you like this movie, have you ever seen the movie Nothing? Same director, and it's got the guy from Stargate.
Which guy from Stargate?
The main guy, the guy you are a big fan of.
Richard Dean Anderson.
No, the one in the movie, in this movie.
The movie? This movie. Oh, it's got David Hewlett.
Yeah, so David Hewlett and the gentleman who plays the autistic guy in this movie, they are roommates, and they end up in Nothing. So it's another movie by this director. If you're a fan of this, then I would recommend that as well.
I believe it was IMDb who said that Vincenzo has used David Hewlett in all his films, so he's his lucky charm. I think they went to high school together.
Oh my goodness.
Canadian.
Oh really?
So they say. Who knows if it's true?
Well, hey, that's good information.
There's Nicole. Oh, beautiful. What's this actor's name? He is great, and I enjoy his escalation throughout the film.
Everyone in this film was very good.
His character name is Quentin McNeil, who's a police officer who aggressively takes charge. His name is Maurice Dean Wint.
He's great.
He's fantastic. He's got the biggest, I think the toughest role here because he has to switch from being a hero to a villain in this movie. And it's amazing. It's an amazing transformation. That's what I mean by not going in order. Like, I don't care. Yeah. And I know. Because I'm not always going to go in order. I found that I don't mind.
I thought you liked to keep the beginning non-spoiler and then spoil after a certain point, or do you just...
No, I don't care anymore.
Oh, all right then.
That's my influence. I'm sorry.
Well,
this is
it just
true.
makes things easier because eventually it gets spoiled anyway. So I just
Franco says
dive
he
right
can't
in.
hear me, which concerns me. Is that
What?
really true?
I can
I
hear
can hear
you.
you.
People? Okay, then I won't worry because
Oh, hello
I
to
drive myself
Bone.
nuts with the technical end of things. So good.
You sound great.
Okay. Let me see. Say something now. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Talking.
You're good. I can hear you on.
Speech.
I can hear you on the YouTube side, so everything's good.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
And Mega React says, I learned 2 things from this movie. Let someone else go first.
Yes.
If you wake up in the moving maze and just stay still and wait. And yes, that's exactly
Number 2.
what.
Yes.
That's exactly what Esri's character. I'm calling her Esri. Esri, of course.
Oh, don't do that.
It's
What is her character's name?
yes, but I love Star Trek, and I do that because out of love for Star Trek. But yes, of course, her name is Nicole DeBoer.
Yes.
And she plays the character Joan Levin.
Yeah,
well, and that's something that it sort of echoed in my brain. I don't know if I read this or I dreamed it, but aren't all of the people in this movie named after prisons?
Yes,
so you have
are.
Leavenworth, San Quentin, and like is
they're
that a
all named
real
after
thing?
prisons? Oh my God! Let me see.
All
Yeah, Leavenworth Prison, San Quentin State Prison. Wow, did they do that on purpose? That's crazy.
Yes, they did that on purpose.
So Bone in the chat says, "Hey Jill, my favorite cube from the '90s is Ice Cube." That's great. And hello to Captain Finity. Captain Finity, have you seen this movie? So, if anybody comes. Yes, of course. And he's starting off as a hero, trying to help everybody get their stuff together to not panic. It's a escape room movie essentially, but it's with mathematics and logic and teamwork. And whoever said they should have just stayed still. Yeah, that's exactly what she says.
Well, and ultimately, don't they end up back in the original cube?
Yes, and that's the biggest twist, and it's just hilarious when David Hewlett's character, who is also named David, his name in the movie is David
Leavenworth.
Yeah.
Same thing. We have Levin and Worth. They are the 2 last people. That's insane.
At first, they just think these are room numbers. But those numbers end up becoming more and more important as the movie goes on, as they figure out what the mathematical puzzle of this movie entails, and it's a lot of fun to figure it out. But at first, they're just trying to make sense of their situation. Why are they stuck in this cube? Who put them here? And that's the question that they ask the whole movie. And it also feeds into the paranoia and the despair of being trapped.
And I think that is, like, this is an existential horror of being abducted, trapped in a prison, and there are escape routes, but would you like cake or death? And it is like, from the moment the movie starts, when you see the guy get cubed,
yes,
this is okay. So nothing in this room is good.
Which the podcast, they also said that scene was inspired by Looney Tunes when Sylvester gets cut up through a tennis net.
That makes sense.
There's a similar execution in, I can't remember the series. It's based on, I mean, they're all based on video games these days. When I think of it, I'll tell you. I'll have to look it up because I've been trying to think of it. But there's a scene where somebody gets cubed by lasers and they're trying to escape.
Oh, like Resident Evil 1?
That's it. The first Resident Evil. There's a cube scene where somebody falls into pieces like that. But that actually kind of bothered me because it looked to me as if he only got chopped in one direction by the sliding wires. And he would not be actually cubed then. He would have to be chopped in 2 directions in order to be cubed.
Well, it was, and I understand where you're coming from. It was a practical effect. And apparently, and this is based on the podcast that we were watching before, is that it was made by a Canadian special effects house that was run or owned by Bill Shatner.
Oh, that was all of the computer graphics. All the practical effects were done by someone else.
Oh, okay. My mistake. Oh, this is where it gets his face melted off. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The practical effects were really impressive.
I got that one blurry on purpose because that one is... You want to see it, go watch this movie.
Inclination. I would say that I thought that the design on this film and the acting was all pretty top-notch. And it was pretty clear that they were working within one set all the time, and yet I never got that feeling that it was the same set again and again.
Yeah.
So
well, and they could only afford 5 different colors. They couldn't afford the 6th one for some reason.
There is a feeling of momentum for every room or every cube that they go to, and I do enjoy that. I think that it is a testament to storytelling and character-driven storytelling specifically. You can create terror. You don't necessarily have to. You don't have to move that much. Like, this would be a great stage play. You could make Cube as a stage play, and I would pay for it.
Since you mentioned
that, would be so cool.
I'll bring up here that I found 2 points that Wikipedia claims that it's based on Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat. Was inspiration. But IMDb says that it's based on 5 characters in search of an exit.
Those are probably both
Zone
true.
Episode. And of course,
that's the toys.
They could be both true. And then, of course, the Twilight Zone exit was based on 5 characters in search of an author, which is a stage play. Yes.
And that's really great because the podcast I was listening to also said it was just based off of lots of prison escape movies, like Escape from Alcatraz, and that David Worth is a lot like the character, one of the characters in Stalag 17, and
Stalag 17. Yep.
Das Boot, and
the Boot,
and that this movie is essentially inspired by Kubrick somehow. So yeah.
Well, I can see that with the cinematography. Yes, it is stark.
And that's why it also starts with this prison escape artist who you think he's going to help everybody escape because he's escaped out of 7 prisons and he's the first one to die. So that really ups the stakes, thinking, oh man, if he can't do it, everyone else is fucked.
Yeah. Well, and that's okay. So Gorilla, there's your swear. Go buy a lottery ticket.
Yes, Scotty's got a terrible influence on you while I've been away.
Well, no, what it is I think it changes with whatever movie I'm watching. If it's Star Trek, I'm not going to curse, but it's a horror movie.
Yeah, we just saw a guy's face melted off.
Well, the person, though, who starts cursing in this film is the villain. He's the one who really starts dropping the F-bombs.
Yeah, F and F.
Yes, in the last 20 minutes.
So, Quentin, how do you guys feel about Quentin?
I feel like he sucks at math.
True.
No, she says that later in the movie. That's my favorite line in the whole movie. And this is the part where she...
It is a good line.
She learns...
I feel that...
She makes her first mistake. She thinks that the prime numbers... It's not exactly... It's an understandable mistake. Because this girl is way better at math than I can, because she can actually do it in her head. But she determines that if a room is not prime, then it's safe.
True.
Oh, wait.
But she's talking about the entire number, the entire 9-digit number.
Well, no, each one. I think you
one.
have to look at it. You have to look at each one. Yeah, each one will be prime or not prime. There will all be one or the.
Well,
one
any
or the
number
other.
that ends in 2 can't be a prime number, correct?
Right, it ends in 2
Yeah, I
or
don't know
ends
much
in
about math myself, but that much I got.
if it ends in 2 or ends in 5, obviously 5 is definitely going to always be have more than 2 factors.
Well, 37 is not a
And
prime number, right?
37 is not a
I'm trying to think of
um
what you multiply to get something that ends in 7.
No, 37 is
Besides
prime.
7.
There's
Is it
nothing.
prime?
Yeah, because you can only use 37 in 1. So
All right. Well, then I am a prime Scotty R.
there you are, your prime Scotty. But you asked a question. I completely spoiled it.
Well,
because I
no,
wanted
I
to
was
talk about the
asking you
prime
what you
numbers.
think of the character of Quentin.
I think he's a great character. He takes charge as leader at the beginning, trying to help people with their emotions, which is really ironic considering what happens at the end or what happens right in the middle, because he's a hero for half of the movie. And so it's really neat to see that switch where he's the one guiding people and helping people and everything, and how he descends is incredible.
I'll say that I suspected him right from the start, but I suspected everybody. My gut said nobody's really what they say they are, or there's a shade on what they say they are, how they present themselves. And I initially I kind of said to myself, all of these people are prisoners. Each of these people were taken from a prison. They've all committed a crime. But that was just my gut, and it never played out in the development of the characters.
Yeah, and Ren helped you with that at first, but then it didn't follow. Teatime says I'd smoke a butt off the sidewalk, and said no one who actually quit smoking years ago.
Oh no, I still smoke, and when I walk past a cigarette butt on the street, and I'm like, that's a lot of tobacco in there. I'm like, no, don't be a hobo.
Good. Jama Lama says hello, Jama.
Hey, Jama.
Donnie Pierce is here. That's really great.
More phenomenal.
Oh, hey, y'all.
Yeah. Oh, Rudolph Isley. Rest in peace.
Yeah, he makes me want to shout.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
One of the Isley brothers, or
yes,
a
one of the
different
founding.
Isley.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to the blue room, says Teatime. We'll meet him. Yeah.
Gotta keep moving. Now,
see, that's why I don't.
If you were in the cube, would you think to throw your boot to see if it's a danger room, or would you just blindly walk into the next room and then die immediately? Like after you get in the first cube,
you gotta throw the boot.
Yeah, but would you think of that first?
But would you even
just
know?
Open a door
would you
and
even
go?
have the premonition?
No, I would absolutely.
You'd throw a boot.
I'd like to think that I would, but I don't know that I'd have the premonition that traps are going to come slamming at me or not.
Yeah, I think I would open a door and pass through it and then die. Like I wouldn't even think about it.
If I survive one trap, then yes, then I would know better.
If I survived one trap, I would throw a boot. But if I think that the first time that I'm going into a new room, I'm totally dying.
No,
I don't think I would make it out of this.
I wake up in a situation like this, in this freaking hyper realistic, science fictional, possibly alien cube. I'm throwing a boot. It's just, this is too weird.
You're smarter than me.
Mick Phoenix says you're right. They're talking about Stargate. How David Hewlett plays Dr. Rodney McKay in Stargate, and he's saying he was abrasive in the first 3 seasons, but the character developed over the 5 seasons. Actually, I think he picked up really soon. Whichever episode it was where he gets stuck at the bottom of Atlantis, the ocean, in the puddle jumper, when he gets stuck in that, and he goes through a lot of character changes, and you get to see him actually have to suffer and survive. That is when I start to like Rodney McKay. That episode. Anyway, this isn't a Stargate podcast, but
you know what? I was sorry. As long as we're talking about Stargate and David Hewlett, I've been doing inventory on my physical media collection. I'm up to like 630 movies, which I'm impressed with. And I found I have the first 3 seasons of Stargate. Never watched them, but I have them, and the only reason that I'm not getting rid of them is because, Jill, you have said watch Stargate. Even though I have a disagreement with the movie.
But this isn't the movie. This
isn't the movie.
Show.
It is. So I am looking forward to that's something that I will watch.
And
after I'm done watching the after I'm
Mm-hmm.
done with the Twilight series.
Okay, so oh man, what was I gonna say? Yes, and they make a James Bond reference here. So, but you would know what it was.
We watched this. What did they say?
I forget.
They say something. Man with the golden gun or something.
Yeah, that.
It's crazy cool. Again, it's a self-aware movie. It doesn't even though it is like it's a
Scaramanga.
Scaramanga from Man with the Golden Gun. And
I was going to ask you about that. If you think that's like this at all.
Oh yeah, in terms of the trap at the end, like the fun house that Scaramanga makes James Bond go through at the end of The Man with the Golden Gun, yeah, for sure. I think it's apt. And also, I enjoy pop culture references as long as they are used sparingly when referencing things so the audience is on board. It's like, oh yeah, we all know that.
And this is the horror
really quickly too.
Yeah, but like this movie was made in what, 94? 96? 97,
yes.
And
Man with the Golden Gun was in the 70s. So I don't know. I will bow to your opinion.
But no, you're the Bond scholar. I don't know Bond at all.
But
and you know what?
But I'm talking about cultural touchstones. Like, do you think that if
perhaps that really is something that people really know? I don't know it at all. I haven't seen the movie, so for me it falls flat.
And
James Bond
even though
wins.
This is a horror movie. There are elements of humor in it that are kind of dark humor, but like here where I guess I won't give it away if you haven't seen the movie, but it is in the
I think it's too late for that, Jill. You already said fuck that.
I love
so you go ahead and you talk about what you want.
Exactly. So the doctor character, Dr. Holloway, acts like she it seems like she's choking on gas. But she just swallowed. Well,
that was hilarious.
They're all sucking on these buttons because it's supposed to help with the saliva flow that they learned from the prison escape artist that died from the acid. The acid ate away his face.
Got his face totally melted off.
But he had a good idea.
This is not a conversation I was expecting.
So
there's this guy who got his face melted. Anyway.
Remember when he advised everyone to suck on buttons?
Yeah. He was sucking on buttons.
Anyway,
whether that really helps you keep your body fluids or not.
Before we get too far, I want to go into Hungry's discussion of the overview. He's got, let's see. So Hungry couldn't be here today. So instead, we're gonna get to hear from him in this way. So I'm gonna unmute my screen and we're gonna get to listen to Hungry. So he did this.
Bingo, bango, bongo, boom. Check the echoes in this room. They seem to be sounding acceptable. So let's get on with the overview of Cube. One of my favorite movies, and out of respect to Jill, I'm so happy that she loves it just as much as I do. And here we go. When I was but a wee teen, I got the great pleasure and honor of seeing Albert Finney in 1973 portraying Poirot on Murder on the Orient Express. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm a science fiction fan already. I'm a horror fan already. I love science fiction and horror, so why can't we have something as smart and as clever as Poirot in outer space trying to figure out a murder mystery? And then, lo and behold, only a few years later, boom, Cube comes on my television screen, and oh, thank goodness, there it is. And the thing about Cube, as we see within the first 5 minutes, ladies and gents, it is a film that is made by people with a brain in their head and made for people with brains in their head, as Poirot would
Canadians.
say, and I'm not going to try to do the Belgian accent. Enjoy the use of the little gray cells between the ears, Hastings, and pass me the chocolat. That's exactly what this film is going to do from the first 5 minutes all the way to the end, little chillins. And aren't we glad it did?
Oh wow, that's his introduction. He's got more actually. He's got characters, but we'll save it for a little bit.
OMG.
In a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I'm
So-
glad that he contributed because, again, one of my favorite movie recommendations that I've had in the last 2 years is from Hungary when he told me, Scott, you got to see Shin Ultraman. And I did. And it was amazing. And so I would really, I can't wait for the rest. I can't wait to hear more from Hungary.
Franco Walker says, "I thought all odd numbers were prime numbers." No, that's not true. Like
You're
like we were
an
saying
odd
earlier,
number.
if it ends with the 5, it's not gonna be prime. And so there's lots of odd numbers that are not.
Are easily
Are
divisible.
multiples of there are multiples
Yes.
of lots of numbers.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, like 9. Yes, of course. It's a lot of fun. I love math. So, even though I have to do pen and paper though, I'm not as good as 11, and certainly not a computer like what's his name, Craxton. I think.
I don't know the name of the gentleman who shows up. We didn't even introduce him yet. Can I read
Whoa.
Gavin Blackburn's?
Gavin Blackburn.
Yeah, the chat that's on the screen. Can I read this?
Oh yes, please.
Scaramanga charges $1 million. He's assassin second to none.
Oh, Kazan.
Kazan.
Yeah,
Like
he's
the
the computer.
Like Elia Kazan. Yeah, true.
Yes, but one assumes that's a prison. Because
I don't know. You know what? I remember that there was a reference to the characters being named after prisons, but I don't know if it applies to all the characters.
Yes, it does.
Oh, I
Yes, it
believe
does.
it does, yes.
Kazan is from the Kazan
it's a
prison in Russia.
Oh shit! Wow,
David
cool.
Worth is Leavenworth Prison in the United States. Quentin is San Quentin State Prison in the United States.
What about Dr. Lady?
Levin? Worth? Wait, is Worth? Does Worth?
No,
Worth
Levin
also?
and Worth. Levin and Worth make Leavenworth, so that's one prison.
Oh, okay, they're together.
yeah. Dr. Holloway, the free clinic doctor, there's a women's prison, Holloway Women's Prison in the UK.
Huh?
Yeah, and Rennes is the Centre Prénatal de Rennes. It's in France, so I can't pronounce it.
It's from France.
Alderson Federal Prison. He was unknown and alone when he died.
Good for him.
Mhm.
Super happy. And also, this is where I learned how to say shit in French.
How do you say shit in French?
Merde.
Oh, Picard says that too in The Next Generation.
I like to always say merdera. There's a
Matt G is
French
here.
Dada
Hello.
Itstick
Oh, hello,
play
Matt Jean.
where they say shrit all the time. They put an
Yeah.
extra R in.
May
yes.
I excuse myself? I want to go have a cigarette.
And this is where they find out that
Merd.
the prime number bit isn't perfect. So the number system that Levin comes up with fails here because she finds that the room was not prime, but it still had a trap. So she has it wrong, but that's all she knows. She doesn't know why it's wrong. And so she's going to take some time to learn the numbers a little better to see if she can figure it out. But yes, you're right. I should say hello to Matt G. TNG taught me married. Yeah, me too. That's what I was thinking. And Jamalama is good with math, but more of a memory thing. Fine up into calculus, and then I'm out. Well, that's all you need is calculus. Calculus is all you need. And that's why I always have a calculator with me. Yeah, no, I can't do the math in my head. I need a pencil and paper, but I'm really good at solving the problems with the right tools. And so that's why it's good that I can write a computer program for it.
Oh, that's so clever.
Hmm.
Not in a million years.
Well, the easiest program I
For
wrote
me.
was a
For me.
prime number calculator when I was in school because I was always asking myself, is this number prime? And so I was like, I'll just make an
Ah,
app for that.
that's why
And
this
I
movie
did.
really speaks to you.
It does. It really. Okay, I'm not gonna play Hungry's video without Scotty here. So, oh
All
right.
right.
Oh, I
Well,
love this line. The tarot card, where she's getting snappy because even though she's sweet and innocent, she develops an attitude throughout the course of the film because she starts out
yeah.
really scared and sweet,
Yeah, she's having a breakdown at the
and
beginning.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she has a breakdown at the beginning, but as the movie goes on, she starts
She
getting
pulls
sassy.
herself together. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
always good to see.
Mhm. Yeah, they don't reveal themselves right away. So she says, "Do you have any idea how many variables I have to consider before I can decipher numbers like this size?" They don't reveal themselves right away. And Quentin says they're like people. And that's also foreshadowing for how he sees himself as a police officer and able to read people. And that goes from being helpful to being extremely detrimental, where he thinks he knows for sure what everybody is up to.
Yes. But
And
I always suspect people who say they're a cop, and they put it like that. A lot of cops don't call themselves a cop.
mhm. What do they call themselves?
I think they call themselves police officers.
Police Oh, okay. All right. And I
And then
didn't
at the
even
very
know
end
there
of
was a
this
difference.
movie, and I mean the very, very end, where the credits rolled, I was
Right.
really happy to see that all of the actors' names were in alphabetical order, which is always a good sign. It
What does that
means,
tell you?
to me, well, it means that nobody has jockeyed for better pay, that everybody is listed in alphabetical order instead of the order of their preeminence as an actor. You know, it means that they've just agreed to that as a group, and so they're all going to be pulling in the same direction as actors to do their best instead of trying to outshine each other. Does that
Oh
make
yeah,
sense?
yes, that makes sense. But I also
Yeah.
like I like to list. I like also list when they do in order of appearance, so that also doesn't give anybody
That's
any
true.
particular
That's
order.
yes, but since there were no credits at the beginning of this film,
Right.
just the title, like Alien.
Right. I wanted to thank McPhoenix. That's so generous of you to give me $5. I just
Aw.
enjoy talking about this movie. Thank you. The Atlantis episode you mentioned is from season 2, episode 14, Grace Under Pressure. David put on a great performance, and it is one of my favorites. Yes, me too. So, because I actually hated Rodney McKay when I saw him in Stargate SG1 when he showed up, I was just like, "Who is this asshole?" And this episode changed my entire perception on him completely, and I loved him ever since. And that's how they stay hidden. What are they talking about in this episode? We keep everyone separated.
Yeah,
So
she's
the
really
oh
coming from a different place than everyone
yes,
else is at the beginning, where she kind of jumps to aliens, which I
she
think is a
just
reasonable jump.
she's yeah. Well, they don't say who it is. That is the big question in this movie: who made the cube and why are they in it?
yeah,
Nobody ever
I
knows.
don't think I'm going to go through the sequels to find out because I have a feeling they won't tell me then either. But
Probably not. But aliens is a good guess.
yeah, the
Mega
level of
corporation.
technology there.
But her other guess besides aliens is the government. So she's the conspiratorialist.
Yes, very much
And
so.
And of
And
course,
what she said sounded so contemporary. She wasn't even just talking about the government. She was talking about the whole military industro government complex, the thing that rules the world today. So,
right. It's true. They do. They orchestrate things. And LDG
indeed.
says, great movie. Hey, LDG, do you want to join the panel? Because if you got some time, I'll send you the link, whether you do or not. You can ignore it if you don't want to. But if you love this movie, I'm sending you the link.
Yeah, I had never heard of this movie before you mentioned it. I'm impressed.
On Twitter.
It was very well made.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it. I don't even know how I found it. My husband and I watched it one day, and we were just in love.
Well,
Because
I
we're
looked
both
for
computer
it.
science majors.
I searched for it on the Roku last night after I saw that it was what you were going to do today, and it was on many different platforms for free. I'm like, okay, so I got to do this. And I think I switched from. I think I switched. Yeah, I watched on 3 or 4 different platforms, and then I thought, well, that's a cube. I'm like, no, it has to be 6 platforms to be a cube, right?
Yes. Yeah, 6 faces.
Yes, but there was a lot of opportunity to see this film, which was good.
That is, yeah, definitely. I also thought on archive.org.
Yes, if anybody out there wants to watch it, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
For
the
free.
reason we're here is that it's out of control.
If you need to blame
someone to
someone,
blame.
throw a rock.
That's what the mathematician says. The Levin. She says that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait. Or was it Holloway?
It looks like it was Holloway, but I seem to remember it being the mathematician.
I think it was Levin because she said she's felt guilty about something since she was 7. Like she's been always guilty about messing up the world.
And she was also able to say it without sounding snide. You know, she just kind of came out with it honestly, and I liked that.
Well, says, capture uncertainty, brutalize, escape. Nice.
My goodness.
That's creative.
Is that from one of the sequels?
I don't know. I just thought Dio Briggs being creative.
Yeah.
But what's going on, Scotty?
Well, what do you think? Why do you think that these people were brought together in the cube?
To test it.
The cube?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
these are extraordinary people that they have brought together to see how secure the cube is.
Well, despite what happens to Quentin, he has one thing right, is that everybody has a purpose in the cube. That's why jewelry was taken away, but Levin got to keep her eyeglasses.
Glasses, right.
Because they were important for her to be able to do her math. Because sometimes she does have to write things down, but she has to scratch it into the surface of the side of the cube. Oh, I'd really love to, but I'm busy right now. Oh, that's okay. I'm glad you're here. The beginning of this movie was very suspenseful and set a chilling vibe that lasts throughout. Oh, yes, that's important to mention the music.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Very creepy.
LDG Free the Net. And if you'd like to go and hang out and check in with LDG, Job, freethenet.org/underground if you want to go and hang out.
Yes. Oh, and this is where she figures out the Cartesian plane, that the numbers are not just, you're not just supposed to read them for the prime numbers and everything, but if you add up each one, that gives you the coordinates within the cube, within the greater cube. And so from that and from what from that and what Worth talks about, she knows how big the cube is. It's 26 by 26, and it's 400. Oh wait, how big is it? 434, right? 434 feet, square feet.
I have Wikipedia.
Cube.
If you want, I can.
So yeah, the outer shell of the cube is 434 feet on one edge, and of course, if you multiply 434 times 434 times 434, you get 81,746,504 cubic feet.
Well, and as the movie goes on, don't you is it in this movie that you find out that the cubes are all moving?
Yes, at the end of the movie.
Yes.
But
Mhm.
That's
right
one of the
now,
surprises at the end. That's one of the twists.
yeah, that's a big twist at the end, is
Literally.
that everything's moving. Exactly. And that's why one of the promotional materials for this movie was an actual Rubik's cube with the little cube symbols, I guess,
Ah,
on the outside.
that's
I want one
adorable.
after I heard about it. But there are 17,577 total rooms with the math that she does on that. And oh wow, we're already close to the end here. Wait a second. Wait. Oh, it feels like close to the end. This is halfway. So let's listen to Hungry talk about the characters.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Bird of Prey 5, have you seen this movie?
You know what? I was talking to
The
Bert a little
plot.
bit earlier, and
Mhm.
he said that it was just a little too gory for his tastes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
The face melting is, I think, the worst it gets in terms of body horror, but that's a bad one.
Hmm. Yeah, it does start off worse than. Yeah, agreed.
Oh, and
How
the
many
initial
boots do we
sequence.
have left?
So
Oh.
And it was kind of
Oh,
funny because when I was looking at the
yes.
cast at the very end of the film, I saw the character's name Alderson. I'm like, Alderson, who the hell is Alderson? Alderson, and I'm like, oh, he must be that guy at the very beginning who got cubed, and he
Exactly.
was.
And speaking of characters, I want to play Hungry's. So this one is, how long is this one? Hold on. Is it?
It's
This one's the
11:03.
This one is 8 minutes long. So if you want to interrupt him at any point, just let me know and I'll
Oh,
pause
crikey.
it. Okay?
I'll
Yeah.
just shut up then.
No, we
No,
should interrupt
no,
Tiger.
that's the opposite of what I just said.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know.
this will be fun.
This
This
is
will be
painful
fun.
for
I can't
me.
wait. I want to
Just
hear
you
Hungry.
go forward. It's going to be so much
why
fun.
does the film work so beautifully for every minute of its runtime? Well, by the 16th minute, in terms of characterization, we have the first holy crap moment, which, due to the brains behind the script, leads to the skeleton, which supports the muscles. That is kind of a pun regarding the body horror of this film. The skeleton supporting the muscles of this movie. And that skeleton is the character interaction and personality traits that are revealed step by step, moment.
Ooh, baby.
As I am sure the delightful Jill will agree, what we're talking about here is patterns in the walls. Not only the walls of the prison itself, the cube itself, but the prison, the walls of the minds of the characters. The patterns in the walls of the cells of the cube are actually a mimicry. They are actually a reference. They are actually a reflection of the patterns of psychology of the characters themselves. And in sci fi, a Rorschach blot test form of the characters and their personality structure shown on the walls. This is
Pause.
delightful. This is delicious.
I flat out disagree with that analysis.
Hey, tell me
Continue.
what you could disagree with. Exactly.
Well, I don't know if maybe it is a failure on my part in terms of identifying the production design of the walls of the cube, but I
Mhm.
don't think that they resemble a Rorschach test at all. And
No?
I think that the
Hmm.
characterization is presented by the characters themselves. I don't think that there is any visual, and this is something like this has just been presented to me. The only thing that I can think of that would be representative of that, and I would like to watch the movie again to see where Hungary is coming from, is
Well, just look at the
the
walls
scenes
themselves. They're kind
if
of
the
like.
scenes take place like when there is a dominant character in the cube, whether the color reflects the action that is happening within that particular box, that would be interesting. But I don't like when you look at that, again, I'm under the impression that the cube is the same except for the gels and colors of each individual cube. I don't think that they change. I could be mistaken. I'd have to check it out
No,
again.
you're right.
It's an
It's all
interesting
the same.
it,
They use the same set, so of course the cube is going to be the same every time because it's the same set. But
it's an interesting observation. I will give it that, but I
I
do
think
disagree with the
I
analysis.
I think that the walls are really kind of an abstract art. They kind of look like spider webs or whatever you want them to be. It's kind of really it's strange, and I think it's a really
Mangled
good bit of work.
crossword puzzles. When I look
They
at them now, I'm
right.
like, oh my god,
So
that
if
looks
you
like
can
something that
think
is
that,
unsolvable.
then it is a Rorschach test, just from an artistic perspective.
Agreed. So I retract my statement. Please continue,
And of
Hungary.
course, and you also put a point on it. The colors can change the mood.
Hmm.
They mentioned on WikiP that the color of the cube actually really impacted the cast and their level of anxiety throughout the day. If they were working in the white color, they were all pretty together and calm, and if they were working in the red cube, they got very anxious.
Oh, Mick Phoenix says, when I was a kid, I enjoyed Power Rangers. Even went to see the first movie at a drive-in theater, but lost interest when I got my first girlfriend. You know what? I stopped watching Power Rangers after the first movie too. Um, I don't know what it was. It was just that seemed like a good end. Anyway, I want to continue what Hungry's got to say. And Branko says the walls look like cubist paintings. Oh,
Nice
hey!
observation. Beautiful, Franco. Bingo.
Let me see here. Oh wow. Yeah, that could be possible. I like that.
And as an illustrator working mainly with black and white for decades, I caught this immediately and cheered when I first saw this combined reference to the characters and their prison in the film. It
Doing a bit of Shatner there.
is a treat for the audience because the entire basis of the film is about puzzles to solve. And we are given, by dint of this meta aspect of the film, these patterns, which are also like the patterns of the psychology of the characters. We are given puzzles to solve ourselves as the characters themselves are solved.
As characters themselves.
These images on the walls, they are like glyphs representing possible intent, not only of the characters,
Okay, pause.
so shall we say, of the people that create.
Hey, Hungry, can you reel it in a bit? You're being a bit theatrical. Anyway, keep going.
Hey, it's fine. It's kind of fun.
No,
I'm
I want to make
Is
fun
it-
of it, but I
is
can't.
it though?
It is. It is.
Oh, well, I love Hungary, so yes.
I love him
You-
too, but he is going a bit over the top.
I think he's fine just as he is. Let's just say that.
My mistake. My mistake.
I do too, but I was so excited that he actually took the time to create clips for me because he couldn't be on the show. So
Oh, no,
As
then
am I.
This is a
I'm
considered,
enjoying his delivery.
and this is obviously a very considered essay.
Yes.
mhm. Yeah, well considered, well thought out.
I'll sit down. I'll sit down and shut up.
The characters. It is juicy. It is delicious. It is delightful. It is a sirloin steak, and sure as hell not some dried up little slider. By being smart enough to use this as a cinematic device, the people who made Cube have actually made the cube containing the characters become a character itself. And I find that just delightful. I mean, I have followed this film since I first saw it, and I remember watching and looking at various reviews of it and listening to certain people on the radio talk about it, and even then going to the IMDb. And there are some people who just are dim-witted enough to say 6 characters in search of an author, or maybe it's the Rod Serling version of that. 5 characters in search of an exit. Well, that is kind of minimalist and that's kind of reductionist because this film is its own film. And even if something has already been done before in a way that involves a certain trope or a certain plot narrative device, that doesn't mean that the film we're talking about today is any less original or deserves less respect. And no, it is not that Twilight Zone episode at all, in my not so humble opinion. You laugh at that, Scotty.
Does everyone you know emulate Doomcock?
These we're sounding progressive here. Before we hit.
Keep going.
I'm not getting Doomcock. I'm getting Paul Lynde on meth.
Oh, wow. Paul Lynde on meth. That I would pay to see.
Film, the female characters have full agency in the way that
Spider-Man says, I agree with Scotty R37. Hungry is funny and a little over the top in his delivery, which makes this even more entertaining. Thank you.
It's true. It's true.
Not for all of us. It's not true for all of us.
True. It's not true for Tiger Stripes.
For some of us, it's a little painful. But continue. Let's do get through it, please.
But I do want to say,
for the love of Christ,
for the love of Jeebus, I want to say that while I am poking fun, I am making fun, and I'm hoping that it is still fun. I love Hungry, so I am so happy that he
and
contributed.
I enjoyed the content of what I'm listening to.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm going to interrupt and say that I don't think there's anything wrong with mentioning references. It's a really excellent way to educate other people and to let them know that everything builds on something. Nothing comes out of a void.
There's nothing wrong with
Shakespeare had references. Shakespeare had inspiration. Everybody has inspiration.
Quentin Tarantino made a career out of ripping people off.
There's nothing
it's not
wrong
even
with
rip off. It's that's something else entirely when you're ripping off. This is inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with references, but Hungry was not talking about someone just making references. He was talking about people who were writing and making this film seem too derivative just because they could make references to other similar things, saying that this wasn't unique in its own right. And so they were giving this film bad reviews because it wasn't wholly original. Nothing is going to be completely original. So it's kind of, I love references too. References are great, but if you're using them to disparage something else, it's cool.
It was a representation of an original story, and the adaptation is glorious. Please continue.
Now you got Hungry laughing as he listens to this on the replay.
I hope. I can only hope.
That is the kind of spirit we needed.
They help make sure the narrative unfolds and are given full equal weight.
Oh my God, beer just came out my nose.
The male characters, and dare I even say more. I hear Scotty say maybe they had more agency. And this makes the tableau and scenario
I never said that.
feel more real to me. And Scotty can bring up the puns and the names like Leaven, Worth, leading to Leavenworth, and therefore, thank you, Scotty. I don't have to. Nicole, this necklace, she brings.
Oh, Hungry, I love you. You're so amazing. Thank you for shouting me out.
Nikki, she brings the scientific hard bite, and dare I say, a little bit of bile, which is lovely to see a female actress be able to be given that leeway.
Okay, that's a bit much. Come on.
I'm a little bit pissed off that Nikki has only one pick on her IMDb page. It's insulting, but we'll let that go. I mean, we all know how much of a character actor whore I am. I make no bones about it. I've said it often. So for me, these women are the gluey mainframe strands of the spider silk which help keep this story together. And I don't know or care if the tones of voice that they delivered in the film, which were so wonderful, and the delivery of lines that they gave us, which were so wonderful, came from, in quotation marks, them or the director instructing them. I don't care. The only thing that matters is that's what we, as the audience, received. And the bottom line is these two women and their two characters are the keystones and cornerstones of the
Really?
castle of this film. And don't get
I'm
me
just
wrong.
not the
I do
argument,
love
just the
the writers,
delivery. I'm
like
curious.
Julian Richings, who it was also in Murdoch Mysteries, and I made no bones about
I
loving that.
was in Murdoch Mysteries. That's not a shout out.
Luckily for us, everybody in this movie excels at portraying their characters. And let's just face it, you know, I love Canadians. And I love Canadian sci-fi and Canadian horror and
We
Canadian
always speak
horror.
highly of you.
Canadians are frankly superb character actors, particularly in this subgenre. And all of the casts live up to that onus, that responsibility, and that legacy. But Nicole, especially. And it is just, it's almost like saying, we don't
Can you
need
pause for one
Cronenberg
sec?
to do Cronenberg.
Like, I am a big
Yeah.
fan of Nicole DeBoer.
I am
I
a huge fan of Nicole DeBoer too. She's so lovely, and I wish that we would have had more of her. Even though I didn't want Jadzia to die, but it felt like just one season of Esri wasn't enough to really get to know her character, even though they tried to insert her into so many episodes.
Well,
But
and I could go on for hours
what is your
and hours
actual
when
point?
it comes to Deep
I'm
Space
sorry,
Nine. But no, but like the thing is that when we talk about season 7 of Deep Space Nine, and a lot of people talk about how adorable and cute and attractive Esri Dax is, and this movie, because we're talking about Cube, like I don't feel that any of the actresses are sexualized in this
They're
film,
not.
which is they're all there for a purpose and
like
a
she
reason.
is sexy, but she's stuck in a survivalist situation. You get to see her in a whole host of emotions that may not be as flattering, and which is good because women should be shown as being realistic, and she is shown as being very real and raw. And
but
no one in this film seems to have on anything like glam makeup.
Right.
And it's surprising how many actresses will insist on that, even when they are playing somebody who's supposed to be a real character during a war or something, or in an era where the women didn't wear that kind of makeup. So,
yeah.
So, like, and if you are attracted to Nicole DeBoer in this film, you are basically attracted to her intellect and her desire to escape.
She doesn't even know her own beauty, because at one point she says brains before beauty, and she goes first. So she's lovely. I love her.
And she uses it to her own advantage. She says brains before beauty. I'm going first.
And so there's just one more minute left. I'm going to listen to the rest.
We can do this on our own without him. And I think that is just simply tasty,
oh my God,
and wonderful.
Audio cunnilingus.
Speaking of
there it is, ladies. If you would like to hear "Hungry," Mal your
no, stop.
There it is.
Stop.
Okay, will do.
No.
Will do.
Wait,
That's
but
gross.
I'm
Stop.
done.
No.
I'm done. What? You think cunnilingus is gross?
So
stop.
Speaking of, you're
Enough.
just feeding. So speaking of being natural, speaking of women being natural, Bird of Prey 5 wants us to remember that today is no bra day.
I'm not wearing a bra.
Says who? Bird of Prey, please.
Take it off.
Bird of Prey takes the time to look up all of the fake holidays that people have announced.
It's a real holiday, Jill. You should take off your bra
off, Bird of Prey.
I'm not wearing a bra. Thank you, Bird of Prey. I appreciate that. I feel free.
Yeah, and he's right. October 13th is no bra day, according to I don't know.
According to the
made it.
people who don't like bras.
I support you is also fairly hilarious in this context.
Okay. It's for breast cancer awareness. That makes sense. All right,
Yeah.
there you go. Jamalama says, "Did I just hear women and realistic in the same sentence?" Yes, yes, and I do like
You
women
don't believe in
allowed to
realistic women?
just being portrayed
weird
to
thing.
be as multidimensional as men are in the movie in terms
When
of
they
being able
pass
to have.
what is it, the Bechdel test?
Oh, I don't need
Yeah, but
that.
that's been debunked. I
I
think.
don't need
No,
the
it's
Bechdel.
not debunked at all. I kind of
It's
love
an
it
interesting-
when women talk about something in a film besides romance or other
Yes.
or
True.
men,
And that definitely happens in
because
this movie.
we actually do all the time, but you don't see that in films.
But you don't necessarily
sometimes.
like just because women talk about men doesn't necessarily mean that they have been undermined as women.
Yeah, and that's true too. And not necessarily, but
It's just a
but I
little
do.
test in movies. It doesn't mean anybody's undermined. It's just a little test in movies.
Well, even Ripley in Aliens doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
Right, because she doesn't have any other women to talk to.
No, she's got Newt, Vasquez,
Oh,
Pharaoh.
the cat?
No, that's the other movie. No, that movie doesn't.
Aliens, the second one.
Oh,
you know.
oh,
No,
okay. I was
Alien.
thinking just Alien. Sorry.
Well, no, but even in
There's
Aliens.
there's another woman in Alien.
Yeah, I forget her
Is there?
name.
Oh, but she dies.
Veronica
Oh, yeah,
Cartwright's
that's
character,
right. I forgot.
which
I
I used
forgot
to
She
be
about
dies
able
her.
like
to
last.
riff all
She's
of
like one of
those.
the last
No,
people to die.
she's one of the last people to die, and she
Oh,
dies.
okay. Everybody dies except Ripley. I just forget about her.
Well, it is a powerhouse performance by that actress.
I think she's
really-
great. I can't
I
forget.
think she
She's
is
the
as well.
person whose response I really remember during the chest bursting scene. She
Mhm.
just totally loses it. It's really good.
Well, and when she does ultimately get killed by the alien, it is her
Yeah,
blood
it's really
curdling
horrific, too.
screams
Yeah,
that
she's
really
good.
you don't see the murder, but
Yeah.
you do feel her terror. Crazy.
Oh yes,
Canadian
her terror is
Spider-Man.
really palpable.
Lambert, thank you.
No,
Gavin.
I don't want to talk about bras causing cancer. I
Oh.
don't want to go
Oh,
there.
I didn't realize that's what he was going to say. But a lady friend told him that they restrict the lymphatic flow. I didn't know
It could
that.
be true, and it could also be bullshit.
It could be bogus. It's true. I am not a doctor. Please consult your own physician and go in for your mammograms.
No, don't.
No,
That's another
no
issue.
mammograms.
I just
Okay.
I
Uh-oh.
don't like having my tits put in a waffle iron. No, thank you. If they did the same thing to a certain part of men's anatomy, I think I wouldn't mind quite so much.
Well, we get fingers up the butt, yo.
Oh,
It's
that's
not
nothing,
fun-
please.
Oh,
Has
come
she-
on. You think
Oh,
making your kid a
absolutely nothing.
sandwich is harder than
Absolutely
getting like
nothing.
finger banged by a
Absolutely
doctor?
Oh, yeah,
nothing. From
yeah,
the
no,
second you're a
Tiger
woman,
sex is right.
yeah,
I've
they
never
put
been
you
a
in the
woman,
stirrups.
so-
Get up in the frickin' stirrups and go through that. Okay,
I'll do it.
And
I'll do
go
it.
through it. Oh, twice a year for the next 30 years.
Yeah, fine. Milk my prostate.
No, it's nothing. What you go through is nothing.
I
They
don't
deal
know.
with that
I
on
don't go to
Letterkenny. There's an
Oh,
episode
yeah.
on Letterkenny in particular
Okay.
where there's a character who. Anyway, I digress. I'm getting.
DeForest
I'm
Kelly
getting
died.
unhappy.
I don't believe in doctors anymore.
So normally I don't like to discuss the film, but Mick Phoenix is bringing up a bit of news that I did mention that I didn't mean to
Mhm.
mention is that Prodigy got picked up by Netflix because Paramount dropped it for whatever reason because their stock is plummeting at it's like at 11 or something. I don't know what it is right now. Let's see what's Paramount CBS stock at right now. You have
You're
terrible
really
data.
going to check
11,
out the
yeah,
financial?
I was right. 11.8. Yes.
Is Prodigy a Trek
Yes.
project?
Yeah, new Trek, so it's not Star Trek, so anything
And
made
it's
after
going
2000.
to be Netflix, not Paramount.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Which
so-
is,
that's
and this
promising.
is something that it really excites me, and it's something that was drawn to my attention by you, Jill, is
Mhm.
that Star Trek Prodigy is the only Star Trek show now that is being produced, as we have learned, by not Kurtzman.
not Kurtzman.
Like no bad reboots.
It's the first Kurtzman Trek to escape Kurtzman. But that doesn't
And-
mean it's going to be any good or anything.
But we've been talking about this for a while and saying, like, I've been wanting to watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
Because, of
And
course,
you have said that you heard that it was actually going to be good Trek because it's the most disassociated from
I didn't say
Kurtzman.
that.
You
But
said that to me.
I
You've
said
said
it
that
was
to
the
me a
most-
couple of times.
I never said that it was
You
going
did to me, maybe
I
privately.
said maybe it'll get better because it's
Well,
disassociated. I
are
didn't
you
say
even-
it will be.
Are you even slightly excited for this news?
Excited? No, I'm not excited.
You're not
I'm
excited? You
interested.
don't
I've been burned
interested is
too
good
much.
enough.
Well, I've been burned too much, and everything after 2005 is not Star Trek. So even if this gets good, it's still not Star Trek. But maybe
When
it'll
did
get
Star
better.
Trek Beyond
Eh,
come out?
Ah. Anyway.
2016, I think.
Anyway, we'll talk about it later, and we'll see what happens, and we'll look into it. Because why not? I don't know.
What was it? Dave Cullen
it's gotta be
released a
better.
video
It's got to be
recently.
better than those very short Trek god awful pieces of garbage.
Dave Cullen released a video recently, and if you're not a fan of Dave Cullen, I would recommend his channel. Like, I think he's pretty cool. But I disagree with him on this particular instance. He was like, "Oh, Star Trek Beyond is the worst," and it's like, you liked Picard season 3, you fucking monkey boy.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who really liked that. They really fell for those member berries hard.
Yeah,
Franco Walker.
we still have to review the last 2 episodes.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
Something Star Wars rip off the end. I know there was
Can't stand it. I know you
Oh my
planned
God.
it.
Oh
Take this
no, there's so
Watergate.
much that I hate
Anyway.
about Picard, and especially
I
how
know,
they
but
just,
we still have to cover the
they're
last
supposed
2
to be
episodes.
they're supposed to be Borg, but now they're just kids
I don't know.
who have Borg inside their bodies.
It's
but you can't
ridiculous.
tell
We should just-
that it's Borg
We should
technology.
just
It's
do an
just
audio commentary.
dumb.
It is pretty stupid.
Oh, hey, hello, Orville Nation. He's AFK, but I'm so glad you're here. Hey, PJ, have you seen this movie? It is so good.
Mhm.
You have to pay extra for that. Make sure to subscribe to Orville Nation. He's doing a lot of life
And
coaching stuff,
Flyboy.
but also,
Herc 130.
of course, he's still a big supporter of the Orville. Mick Phoenix says, "Yeah, Kirk is number 1, but I think most people agree with that. So not counting him, Janeway's my favorite." Oh, they're talking about captains. I love when that conversation pops
I'm a
up.
big fan of I'm Cisco. I'm all Cisco.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm Kirk, then Cisco, then Archer.
Nice. Yeah, Kirk, Cisco, then Archer.
hmm And oh yeah, okay. He likes, and Donnie likes Picard. So there you go. They exist.
No, I'm middle of the road. I'm fine with it. It's entertaining. I still want to buy the Blu-ray. I want to buy the Bluray of Picard
I
season
think it's
3.
awful.
Yeah, I know
But-
that.
Okay, great.
That's why I don't bring it to picnics.
Oh, okay.
This.
Okay,
I
so
have
just
no
one
personal
more.
preference. I have no
Oh, good.
request.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish Hungry's
It's the same way
video
I feel
so we can
about
be done with it.
pronouns.
What's going on? Why isn't Hungry making sounds? Oh, that was it. I guess that
It
was
says on screen that sound is activated. I don't understand.
No,
Yeah.
I think he
it.
was
No,
done.
the video's over.
Ah.
Yeah, he was done. He was done. No, but what he
It's
said though
over.
was really
I
great
am
because he was
relieved.
talking about
Shut up.
he brought up some interesting points of because I was
How could
really
you tell?
I was
I'm sorry,
really
continue.
enjoying the artwork of the cube itself, and I didn't really think of it as a psychological aspect that reflected upon the character. So I'm really glad that he brought up that unique perspective that
It
I
is
wouldn't have.
interesting. I'm not going to argue. That is interesting. And I'm going to, like, again, as I said, when I watch the movie again, I will pay more attention to the background as opposed to the foreground. Because I think that this is an artistic achievement. I think that this movie is, like, it's a low budget, incredibly tense film that is engaging from beginning to end with great characters. Like this
Great
entire
characters.
thing.
At this point, Quentin has turned. He's become a villain. He's
evil.
already punched out Kazan.
The Kazan?
Kazan.
Kazan. The Kazan.
The Nistra?
He's way better than the actual Kazan.
The Kazan Nistrum.
Oh no, actually he hasn't punched him out yet. He's gonna punch him soon.
But I would say, the room is a character. It's really remarkable that way. And
yes,
I'm
Hungry was right about that too.
Through all the Wiki P notes, because I feel sure I saw this go by, but somewhere I saw that it's actually, it's a 15-foot cube, and it's really difficult to shoot, because you've got all of your tech members in there and the cast in this small space, and of course when you're shooting, you don't want to get any of the crew in the shot, so it makes it technically really tricky. That's really great.
I definitely believe that. And so they decide, instead of backtracking and figuring out, because they were surrounded by traps, so that's why they have to go through this room.
Here it is.
Even though it's trapped.
This small set created technical problems for hosting a 30-person crew and a 6-person cast, becoming a weird fusion between sci-fi and the guerrilla-style approach to filmmaking.
Yeah, I could get the trailer for nothing. Why do you want the trailer for nothing?
Because it's by the same director, and I thought it would be interesting as a follow-up.
Oh, okay. For later?
Yeah, for another time.
Oh.
I just want to see it. I can watch it on my own if you don't want.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe later.
All right.
Oh.
But again, it's weird. Okay, so my father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, was a policeman. And
what? Your dad's still alive?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's interesting because I have the same sort of conflicted thoughts on policemen as anybody who's not been a policeman or policewoman, however you wish. And so it's interesting to see this sort of perspective and analysis of a policeman's psyche breaking down. A person who is interested in control and problem solving, who ultimately is not in control. I think that Quentin's character degeneration throughout this film is horrifically accurate.
And
it is something that it's terrifying. Not only are you in a cube of death,
but you don't know why. You have no information about anything, really.
And if you take away something from a policeman, the last thing you should do is their feeling of control. Because if they cannot, they get fucking floundery. They go bug nuts. And so this is really interesting as a character assessment, specifically with him. And as the villain in this movie, I think it's incredible. Sometimes, like when I watch the movie, I think he gets a little hammy at times, but in terms of the character that he is portraying, deserves a little ham.
I didn't get that. I didn't
either. I didn't
also,
get it either.
Your observation here, Scotty, is just so contemporary in terms of what's happening in the current zeitgeist.
I am of my own time.
Well, if your dad's a cop, your dad's a police officer, was retired?
He used to be, yeah.
Wow, then you've really had the insight. You really know. I worked briefly for the cops, and oh man, yeah.
I couldn't say what their psyche is myself.
No, Scotty's nailing it. It's an us-them mentality, but that's something psychologically that's sort of been proven. The second you put people in uniforms, they start dividing the world into us and them. So it's not even just cops. But
I've always had good experiences with them, but maybe I'm
always respectful as I can be, because they can shoot you. So.
Right, I am too. So maybe that's why. That's why I have a good time.
Yes,
I was on. I forget who it was, but I was on a stream and someone said, that they didn't like cops, and I said, I've always been a fan of cops. My dad's a cop. I even like the cops that have arrested me.
Yeah.
I just think it's
Anyway,
a fine
though,
line from
I
somebody
definitely don't
doing
think that every
well
cop
for the
would have.
community and going power crazy, like you said.
I don't
and
think
it really is
I don't
right
think
there.
I don't think every single one would be power crazy like this, but
I think that
I don't
again.
think they
Oh,
would
they're
get this
pretty
bad.
close, lady.
Well,
Like,
not
I
in
don't
terms
know.
of
I
like
don't know.
hitting people like
When was
this.
the last time you interacted with a cop there, Jill?
A couple weeks ago.
There you go.
Is your husband
Beating-
a police?
No,
You
Okay.
can flip on a dime. I'm just saying.
no. But if that were the case, if anyone were physically abusive, I wouldn't stick around for it. That's all I know.
Well, and I've never been physically abused. I'm just saying, in terms
that's
of the,
good.
in terms of the characterization of the policeman, I think that Quentin
And that's what I'm
is
trying
a
to
person
say.
who wants to control the situation, and once the situation proves itself to be uncontrollable, that is when he breaks.
That's what I'm
And
trying to
that-
say. I don't
Holloway
think that
really nailed
I
his
don't think that
psychology.
I don't think that every police officer would lose control. Is what I'm saying.
We certainly hope not. This is just this
That is the
particular
hope.
character. I'm not
Yes,
going to
it
draw
is just
general.
this particular character. And
Yes.
what really shows through in this movie is this line here: "Did you smack your kids around too?" Because he slaps her, he punches Kazan, and he beats up Rodney McKay, David Worth.
Yeah,
And
kills him,
he
basically.
is physically abusive to a lot of people in this movie. And at the end when he decides
to assert authority.
but he says that Holloway, after she says this, he says that she must have known something about his personal life, and so she must be in on this. But she doesn't know anything. She's just a doctor, and she can read the psychology of his situation.
Yes.
Yes, it's an assumption.
But it's a really good assumption.
But he thinks he can read minds, and he can't. And that's his detriment.
And then we get Levin. Anybody want to deal with the problem that we have right now? You want to get on the other side of that door? Oh my God, this is where you find out it's a bottomless pit of crazy.
I love that
finally
there's
get to the outside.
Speaking of being trapped, the Voyager crew is trapped in the Delta Quadrant. We have the most amazing Voyager discussion going on here. I tend to cut Janeway a break because she's 70,000 light years from home, and she has no backup, nowhere to go for help if they need it. She didn't betray herself or the principles she upholds. That is a true fan of Voyager right there. John Muhammad.
Wait.
Yeah.
I do, a lot of people throw shade on Janeway, but I do think that she appropriately represents the Prime Directive based on their circumstance.
Sometimes.
Well, she's no worse than Kirk.
Yeah, sometimes.
I do enjoy Janeway.
I do too. She's not. There's some times where she doesn't really seem like a captain to me, where she's just bound by her situation, like McPhoenix is saying. She doesn't have the ability to switch out her crew because every time you go to a starbase, sometimes you get your personnel swapped out. You can't get rid of any prisoners. You got to keep them in your brig forever and keep them stuck in their rooms because it's
like Lon Suter.
Yes. Yeah, they currently, I'm only in season 2 going on 3 for Cloburn Times Saturday Night Star Trek, and they have a Betazoid serial killer in the brig. And that's going to come back to bite them in the butt later. And so these kind of challenges are something that most Starfleet officers don't have to face. Normally, they could get rid of a serial killer from their ship pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Franco Walker says...
Wait. Before Franco Walker. So...
No, it's okay. I don't exactly want to.
What did Franco Walker say? I'll read it.
But she could have said, "Screw the compa" and use the array to get home.
True.
I would have been okay with that.
It's
But
such
then
a funny
then
thing
the
because
series wouldn't have happened.
we just watched Assignment Earth, and there was apparently like a draft of a teleplay to make it so that the supervisors from the Gary 7 episode were going to be on Voyager. And then they said, well, they have transporter devices that can get everyone wherever in the galaxy. And if we introduce that into Voyager, show's over. And so they decided, nope.
It's too
Nope.
overpowered for Star Trek, and yet it
Mhm.
is in Star Trek. We just have to never meet these aliens ever because it's way too much.
We can't get Terry Garr.
No.
Anyway, I'm gonna
Well,
go
Terry
smoke
Garr.
again. Is that cool?
Terry Garr doesn't like Star Trek. Yes,
Cool.
that's cool. And let's oh, but we're getting so close to the end of the movie. This is the last 36 minutes. And this is the part where they oh wait. Oh no, they don't know it's moving yet. But they're going to try to see where the door is. They're trying to figure out where this one door, there's just one door in this enormous cube for them to escape to. And where it is, they're trying to do the math on it. It's a really twisted movie, and I just love it so much. And I didn't really think about it as a prison break movie, but that is what it is. They're in a prison of Rubik's Cube prison. And one of the points of this movie is, I think David Hewlett's character, David Worth, makes it, is that there is no point. He's the nihilist of the group who says that it is pointless to Quentin. He says that's the point. It's that it's just this big old machine, and it's not here for any reason. And well, there may be a reason, but we never actually figured out what it is. Jamalama says, I can't freaking type today. I think it's the NyQuil. I got a bad cold or something. Oh no, I'm so sorry you're not feeling good, Jamalama. I hope you feel better soon.
I did think that Worth's character kind of touched on the reason for the cube. It was one of those because they can.
Because they can. Because
Yeah.
we can. Because, wow. That's like a serial killer nerd or something. Like,
well, it's you know, when at some point the words Guantanamo Bay flashed through my head, and this would have preceded that. But you know, yeah, sometimes they do things just because they can.
So you really identify with Halloway's perception of who it might be.
Oh, absolutely. If it's not aliens, if it's terrestrial, somebody on this planet built this thing, then yeah.
I prefer aliens, because this would be a human psychological experiment for an alien who knows nothing about us.
Oh, it would be a little worse than that. It would be kind of a torture test, like rabbits in a lab.
Yes. Well, yeah. Quentin says, I'm not going to die in this rat maze.
Yes,
yes.
he does.
And so this is where...
Yeah, look at that. That's a really subtle look. That's good acting. He's not hammy.
Changed.
I don't know where Scotty got that from.
I don't know. He changed on a dime here, where he was excited to catch her, and then he remembered all of their confrontations and how she knew that he was abusive to his family.
She laid him bare, and that was enough for him. He cracked.
Yeah, she didn't know that he was abusive to his family. She just guessed, and she guessed correctly. And
anybody who lashes out violently,
crazy conclusions.
I think, with the exception of people who've been professionally trained to do it, I think you can kind of often assume that it's something they learned very young.
Yeah, and I like a lot of shots in this movie, kind of portraying the emotion of how they feel. It's really cool. I'm not an expert in this kind of thing, but I think it's really well done.
Yes.
When you just have one room to work with, and how many different kinds of angles they figure out is pretty cool. Yeah. So, wait a second. Was there something in the chat? Oh no. Oh wait. Oh yeah, he went to have a cigarette. I forgot. Jam, I can't type Jill. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Jill. For the record, you all cheer me up. Oh, that's good to hear. I'm relieved. And so she can't think anymore. She doesn't want to do her numbers anymore, and because she's doing all this math in her head. A lot of those factors, I would have to sit down and start dividing numbers.
She was scratching them into the floor, right?
No, she can do that in her head. It's the bigger calculations of calculating where they are within the cube and the coordinates and the math behind that she has to write down stuff. Like I would have to write everything down. I would it would take me forever. We would die.
Unless we stayed put. Then we'd be fine.
That's true. Yeah. And sometimes that's the right answer. That was also her suggestion that nobody listens to.
Yes. Oh, I saw something kind of wonderful too. Again, Wikipedia. The set's warehouse was near a train line, and its noise was incorporated into the film as that of the cubes moving. Is that incredible?
In this movie?
That's what it says.
Say that again?
The set's warehouse, so the set was in a warehouse.
Oh, yes.
Was near a train line.
Oh,
and its noise was incorporated into the film as that of the cubes moving. It is incredible, right? That's
great.
That's taking your lemons and making lemonade.
That's really smart. I actually listened to a video recently by someone who plays the piano, and they're playing outside, and there was this car alarm going off, and they start playing the song around that car alarm.
That's brilliant.
It was
great.
really great.
Mm-hmm.
And so the car alarm starts working as a percussive instrument.
Mm-hmm. That's almost akin to the point where I realized that the mockingbirds were mimicking car alarms. They don't do it so much anymore because car alarms don't go off the same way they used to. But can you remember that happening?
Yeah, actually, I think I could
it would
remember
have been
that.
like 20 years ago.
And yeah, there are some crazy things that animals can do with music. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh man, when are they gonna find out this thing's moving? We're almost there. Oh yeah, and this is where he's saying that Holloway knew too much about his family, and they realized he murdered her.
Mm-hmm.
So you liked watching this movie for the first time yesterday?
Well, it was very stressful.
It is. It's very extremely tense.
Yes, horror is not generally my cup of tea.
Me neither. And this is an exception for me as well.
It was very well made and very well acted. And the fact that it was made in 1997 and it really feels still really contemporary, I was impressed. It was a great little film. Really top notch for this kind of film.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't even know it was an independent film until I learned later. That's how awesome it is. Let's see what else.
They had a mathematician to work out the cube for them.
That's awesome. I was wondering how they got it so well done.
David W. Pravica.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reviews were mixed, but some people liked it and some people did kind of sneer. But let's see, there's some website, I suppose, named Bloody Disgusting. And they said, and I really would disagree with these, but they said, shoddy acting and a semi-weak script can't hold this movie back. It's simply too good a premise and too well directed to let minor hindrances derail its creepy premise. And I would argue with that. I don't think
Me too. That's the weirdest thing.
Particularly with the shoddy acting. But it's true that the plotting and the story are aces.
They are, and I think tons of the dialogue is incredibly witty and insightful to
I
all
could have
sorts of
wished.
different kinds of philosophies.
Yes, I could have wished for a little more nuance, and I did notice it sometimes that and I only saw it the once, the dialogue does have a lot of geometry and math puns inherent in it that they don't pause on, they just keep talking.
Right.
But there's, I think we need to go in a straight line and other things like that, they kind of flash by like, math pun, geometry pun.
And this is the part where they realize they haven't been moving in circles. The rooms have. And so this is the part we mentioned at the beginning of the live stream where we say we end up back where we started. And this is why. Because the rooms are moving, and that opens up Levin's mind to that there is something else going on with the numbers. And she figures it out. But in order to do the factors of all the permutations of all the numbers would be a feat that is too much for, she says, any human, except for they have not just any human with them. They have Kazan, who is a savant, an autistic savant, who can factor these numbers somehow. It's pretty crazy, because if I think about it, factors is putting all those 6 digits all in the different orders that you can put them in. And so whatever he's doing is pretty cool.
Certainly beyond.
It's beyond my
everyone.
math.
It's amazing.
It's beyond me for sure. So let's go. Oh, let's see what. Oh, it says this film won the award for Best Canadian First Feature Film in the 1997 Toronto International Film Festival.
That would be deserved.
Yeah. They should have won more than that. They should have won some sci-fi awards, like a Saturn or something.
Well, this is the first I've ever heard of this film. Have I ever heard of this film? I feel like at some point maybe it flashed by just once. And I'm kind of well-read, and I do follow science fiction, so it wasn't promoted. And people have to know about a film and see it for it to be nominated for awards.
That's true. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it is pretty great. It's kind of interesting to think about the power of Prime. And
I mean, it's 25 years old now, this movie, and it didn't feel dated at all. And I thought everything worked beautifully, the effects, the design. Sometimes you see these films, they're not even that old, and there'll be like one clunky effect, and it kind of wrecks the movie a bit, just throws it off, keeps it from being as good as it could be. I don't know how this movie could have been any better. It was really super.
No, and it's really great in that simplicity, because I hear in the first draft of this movie there were going to be monsters and moss and all sorts of different things going on, and it was going to be set in hell.
Yes,
and somebody said, let's roll that back and just focus on the traps. And that's this movie.
The actual physicality, just where people are and what they would be doing in that context. Yeah, that's smart too. You're supposed to, when you after you draft something, after you write it out, you're supposed to go back and kill your darlings. And I think it was a friend of the director's that helped him get to that, where they just pared it back and pared it back.
Yeah. And I love this idea of having to figure out where you are in the cube, even when this thing is moving.
We have to realize it's moving too.
Right. And so her reference point was that it wasn't moving. And so with it moving, she really can do it. So thank goodness for Kazan. But she can tell where she is. And so she can tell when they get to the bridge. Frankel Walker says, I always felt sorry for Harry Kim. He never got promoted, even though he died once to save the ship. Yeah, he never did get promoted. Poor Harry.
I feel like everybody in Star Trek dies at least once.
Not everybody, but,
That's
but
just my
it
vibe.
happens sometimes. Oh man, yeah, Voyager is pretty great though. It's a lot of fun. There's some silly science in it, but that's because it's like lost in space sometimes. Maybe if I had a computer, yeah, she would need a computer to do this. And yeah, so you just break up these numbers.
Yeah, I see. Here's something again from WikiP. There's somebody who was helping the director, Vincenzo Natali, pare back the script. And this man's name is, I guess, French-Canadian. I don't think I can pronounce the last name. Andrei Bajelic helped Natali strip the central idea to its essence of people avoiding deadly traps in a maze. Scenes outside the cube were deleted and the identity of the victims changed. In some drafts, they were accountants, and in others, criminals, with the implication that their banishment to the cube was part of a penal sentence. One of the most important dramatic changes was the removal of food and water for a more urgent escape. Really smart. That's just smart filmmaking. And I got to say, yeah, I was kind of congratulating myself, but really their appearance initially, in terms of costume, is of prisoners. They're all dressed in the same prison type uniform, the same prison type, kind of a military color with the name patch. So that's very evocative of people in prison.
That's true. And then they end up losing that, and then they're in their underwear for the rest of the movie.
Yes. But they're also all sort of in military underwear, which again is interesting.
True enough.
The V-neck and boxers. Even Levin.
The Vincenzo Natali published to his Twitter that he put up an archive specifically for his works, and you can find behind-the-scenes items relating to Cube there. So when these slides are over, if we're still here, I'll check that out.
I heard his name go by before, and I did some research because his name was ringing a bell in my head. He directed some episodes of The Peripheral, which was a recent series based on the
There's some confusion. There's some confusion in the chat. So they're saying that 30 has 5 factors, and that's right. They have 30 has.
Is that the number of times it can be divided?
Yeah. It actually has. It has a few more
3
factors
times 10,
than that.
2 times 15.
But
5
that
times 6,
is Lama. You're talking about the math.
1 times 30.
Lorena, yes, that's right.
3 times.
Yes, and also 30. Yes, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's not what's happening right now in the film, Jamalama. The factors that you're talking about are what the Levin can do. Levin can do that math in her head. She's perfectly fine with that math. But what's happening here is not the straight factors of 30. What they're doing is the permutations of the factors. And it's a little bit more complicated. I don't actually understand it all that much myself, but if I think about it, you have to mix up the numbers in every way that you can. You have to take those factors and
I gotta say, it was the first time I've ever heard the word permutation used in a mathematics sense. I think.
Permutations and combinations. I learned about them when I went to discrete math class, but what they're doing is more complex than the straight factors. That's all I know for sure.
I can read you from dictionary.com if you want to hear it.
Hear what?
permutation in
Well,
mathematics.
I know what a permutation is, but you can read the
I
definition
don't.
if you like. Okay.
No, I don't have to. I'm just
Yeah,
dumbing
no.
everything down because I have math phobia. So,
Well, okay, so you have to start with this movie. You have to start with those three numbers, those three-digit numbers. So with those numbers, you tell each one gives you your X, Y, Z coordinate. So there are three numbers X, Y, Z, and you add up those three numbers. You add up the first three numbers to get your X coordinate, and so on and so forth to get your coordinates. So say you have the your coordinates already, and then the permutations for those coordinates are when you mix up the numbers. Like if your first coordinate is a, if you give it the variable a plus b plus c, then a permutation of that would be acb or bac or bca or cab. So you just mix them up, and so on for each one, and so you end up, I guess, with 6 different permutations if you mix them all up like that. And what you end up with are another set of coordinates, and those coordinates tell you where the bridge is when you get to 0, 0, 0. So none of that makes any sense to me. That's as far as I go with understanding what's going on with this. And so it isn't about just finding the factors of a number, because that's what Levin could do. She could do it in her head really easily, and so can John Malama. So the problem was having to take these 9 numbers and mix them all up to determine where you are in the moving maze. So that's why it doesn't make any sense, the numbers that Kazon is coming up with, because he's doing permutations on all of these different numbers. So I hope that kind of helps, but I'm sure it doesn't. But if you do want to read to us what permutations are, why not? That'll give us something to think about.
I kind of. Okay, sure.
But
I closed it, but I can reopen my closed tab.
oh, if you don't want to, that's okay.
No, I don't mind. It's I was only doing. No, it's here we go. Mathematics. A. The act of changing the order of elements arranged in a particular order, as ABC into ACB, BAC, etc., or of arranging a number of elements in groups made up of equal numbers of the elements in different orders, as A and B in AB and BA, a one-to-one transformation of a set with a finite number of elements. B. Any of the resulting arrangements or groups. And do I understand that? No, I do not. But that's all.
Oh, sure you do.
Oh no. I only ever failed one class in all of my grade school, and it was Algebra 4. And I don't know how I made it through Algebra 3. I don't know how I made it through Algebra 3.
Algebra 4.
I didn't really need them either. It's very aggravating. People at the time were saying, "Oh, you have to have it to get into college." It turns out, no, you really don't. But
I only had Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and then it turned into pre-calculus. And then
I wish
calculus.
I'd gone in a different direction. I wish I'd taken trig or something. I think I'm not bad at geometry. I've got an innate sense of that somehow. So
well, that's what I'm confused about. What do you learn in Algebra 3 and 4? Because I only had 1, 2, then pre-cal. And then
you got to send. Wait, Jill, you got to go back one.
Okay, sure.
Because I want that image, not that one. That.
This?
No, not that one. No.
Why don't you tell us what she's looking for?
The one where there's green. Kazan. That's what I want. I want that image.
You want that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though it's all blurry.
Yeah. I'm
yeah, I
fine
know
with
it's
that.
all blurry.
Doesn't matter.
I could get a better one. Maybe I can't. I don't know.
Maybe
I
you
did.
can. Maybe it just depends
I did
on
an
the frame
exceptional
rate.
job with the slides.
No, they're
this
beautiful.
time.
You always do an exceptional job with your stills.
Always, actually. Sometimes
It's so much work.
I just sit there and slam the button, and it's just like I don't care if this is blurry or not. I'm just going crazy with the button.
Speaking of
This time, I
slamming
actually
that button,
paused
don't
it.
forget to like and subscribe. Share this stream with all of your friends and family. Show it to your mom.
Now, I don't mind
Yeah.
blur. It connotes motion. It's part of
Right, and that's what
Yes.
actually did happen here. Was motion. And if you like Star Trek, play Star Trek Online, says McPhoenix. There are many missions that you can play that are heavily influenced by all Star Trek series and movies. Yeah.
I
Shit.
tried. I
Okay.
tried.
I'm gonna play it safe and not try to do any more maths. I think I'll walk. Yeah, no, the math in this movie goes beyond my expertise, so don't feel too bad. And then, like Tiger said, they had a math consultant on this movie to figure this stuff out, so that is pretty cool.
Oh, I will say too that part of my anxiety in watching this film was the math, because I do have math phobia. So it added an extra level.
Well, I liked that it was very gradual. It's like prime numbers, that's cute and easy. And then it moves on to coordinates. Oh, that's still pretty simple. It's just three-dimensional math. I can do the area of a cube. No, I mean, not the volume of a cube. No problem. And then once the cube starts to move and we're starting to do primes of factors, that's where I'm gone.
Well, how do you feel about the characterization of Kazan as being sort of a handicapable individual?
He is a bit of a deus ex machina. He's a bit of a plot device. Okay. But he's good all the way up to then for what he is. You know, he's very credible. I think he's believable. As somebody with severe autism.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he does a great job portraying who he is. And once you start offering him gumdrops, he can solve all your math problems.
Kind of like you.
Yeah, please send me gumdrops.
Yes.
But not the red ones.
Edibles. Just send her
I actually
edibles.
like the red ones.
Me too. Yeah, I'm all about the red ones.
I know, right?
Read the red ones last.
Send me only red ones and send K's on the rest.
So Ozzy Osbourne was on stage and he said he only wanted brown M&Ms.
Oh, hey, Dalek. He says,
Dalek.
hello, am I invisible? No, Dalek. Daleks can fly. They're not invisible. You've got your powers mixed up.
Yeah, man.
Bird of Prey 5 says red ones are always the best. Because red equals cherry. Yeah. I realized I was wrong immediately when I said that, but it was just
brand new cherry flavor.
Well, and when I get some red M&Ms, I'll give you my cherry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I always love the shot of the shell from outside of the cube.
It is like, and that's the thing about this movie, the dread that occurs when they find out that you're not getting out. You're never getting out.
Well, yeah, and even Levin, who's totally innocent, gets murdered by Quentin. He just completely goes batshit. He just becomes in a sense becomes the cube itself.
Well, and because he is a man who is used to control, and when he is out of control, he decides to turn on the only other people that he can control. And it's like, I'm getting out of here, and you are going to be the price that I pay. Your death will ensure that I escape. And it is a commentary on a man who considers himself to be an authority, who is stripped of that authority. And what does he do? He goes mad with power, in that he will only be able to exert his power on those who are powerless, much like himself.
And thank you, Maurice Dean Witt, for the incredible performance of that. It was really, really good. And
I have some more technical stuff that I think is really fascinating. Do you want to hear it? I'm just
I
reading.
do. Please do.
It's really neat. Only one cube set was actually built, with each of its sides measuring 14 feet in length, with only one working door that could actually support the weight of the actors. The color of the room was changed by sliding panels. This time-consuming procedure determined that the film was not shot in sequence, and all shots taking place in rooms of a specific color were shot separately. So that's really difficult for an actor.
And Levin actually figures out the 14 by 14 aspect of each cube at one point, and so that's how she determines how many rooms there are. That there are 17,576 rooms in 26 rows all around. And so that's why when they find a 27th row, she's confused at first because that's outside the cube. And so that's how they figure out later when the thing is moving that it is a bridge. And so that's another aspect. I just love the logic and the problem solving in this movie. And it's one of my favorite things. And I love that that's built into the production. And it's very, very awesome they did that. Don't worry about that. That's usually my alarm, but I don't have to go anywhere today because all my children are home.
I'm going to leave in like half an hour.
But yeah, I mean, this film is just
we
so
started half an hour
intelligently
late.
made.
Well, I was going to get a haircut.
Most studios wouldn't worry about the math. They wouldn't worry about the room. They wouldn't, you know what it means? They wouldn't bother.
Oh no, Jill left.
Well, and she said all her kids were there. Maybe they're all barreling in, screaming.
No, she's putting them in a cube.
Screaming for Pee-wee and a Coke.
But I do, like, in terms of what you were saying, with the performances and how it was filmed out of order, because it is such a heightened narrative. Like the movie itself is, everyone's freaking out all the time. Like
it's very dense.
People say that, oh, I could be an actor, and it's if they are filming this out of order and they are trying to convey the level of tension that they are successfully, like that must be emotionally exhausting.
Yeah, it ain't ditch digging, but it is. It's a job. Yeah. There's a level of focus and memory work and all of it that you have to be able to do. And portrayal, and then just that extra quality that puts you over the top.
And to make it believable. Like you're not just crying on screen.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. The tension, it comes through in the performance and the music and the way they behave.
Music. We gotta figure out who the composer is, because it was great.
And the fear of not knowing whether or not the room is going to be trapped. The boot helps sometimes, but it doesn't always work. The prime numbers work sometimes, but that doesn't always work until the end of the movie, where they actually solve the mathematics riddle of how to actually accurately determine where you are in the cube and whether or not the room is trapped or not.
And the music is by Mark Corvin. I don't know him.
Mark Corbin.
Very good.
Very good, yeah.
Corvin.
Agreed.
Well, and it was like it's an underlying sound. Like the score is, of course, a musical score, but it's an underlying. It's a sound that is consistent throughout the film, which
Mark Carvin also did the soundtrack.
So basically, it's a Rubik's Cube. Yes, FKHC 2005. Thank you for being here. He did The Lighthouse. What's The Lighthouse?
Oh boy, The Lighthouse. It's not dissimilar to this. It's a 2-person movie. There's 2 people in The Lighthouse, Defoe and Pattinson, and it's I had
Team Edward.
I'm not going to say too much about it. Oh yeah,
Probably.
always Team Edward. But I went in wanting. I had heard rumors that it was Lovecraftian, And there certainly is, but there's also that thing where it's probably at the end psychological horror, which always I feel lets me down. I want horror to be real and tangible, and not just in people's minds. However, The Lighthouse was a pretty amazing film. It's worth watching. It's a bit grueling, like this one, but it was really good.
Well, and Gallic
cool.
451 says, I've never seen this film. And as it was pointed out in the chat, it's available on YouTube for no money. So you can see it.
Oh, you can see if you have any kind of streaming platform like a Roku or I guess probably just a computer. It's all over the map. I mean, everybody was showing it for free. I think I watched it on like 3 or 4 different platforms, trying to skip commercials, trying to find one that would give me the least commercials. But I ended up watching it, I think, on Vudu, which I think was the best for commercials. They showed one commercial and that was it. I don't think well, that's not true. Anyway, it's out there. You can
it's
see
out there to watch. You guys go watch it. It's so good. Branko Walker says, I've only just got this one. Oh, he just got a new PC. I hope it works out.
It costs £200?
But it's a refurb. Refurbs mean that it's worth more. It's worth more than what you paid for it.
All of my computers are used. I don't buy new computers. Absolutely.
Can you guys hear that whistling?
Yes.
My daughter is whistling.
Oh, good for her.
We'll give her a high five and tell her
that's not exactly
louder.
A whistle, but that's all right. I bet it drives you right up the wall.
It is.
You should give her an accordion.
But she's trying to learn to whistle. If you, she'll catch it. She'll get it one of these days.
At least I won't get any copyright strike from it. She knows about the Lighthouse, but not Cube. So we were saying you can watch Cube for free on YouTube. So if you wanted to. Do you guys have any final words before I let Hungry give his conclusion?
Oh no, let Hungry do his thing and then we'll give our final words. We're here and he's not.
Makes sense.
Okay. That does make sense. Not that these have to be our final words, but I wanted to share what Hungry Boy has to say. So let's do that first. And present share screen and audio.
So I'm going to dispense with the character voice now because
Thank you. Jesus, thank you.
Jesus.
And I want to talk about something a little bit more serious. The cinematography of this film, which is essentially, as I mentioned before, it's a bottle episode. And people were making the best of the least amount of budget, the least amount of opportunities. And I think they did a magnificent job with what they had. Just like the original 1960s Doctor Who, just like the original 1960s kaiju films from Japan. And you look at characters like Levin and what the cinematographers and the people working the cameras do with her face. They know what to do. They know they don't have a big budget. They know they're not going to have CGI. They know they're not going to have anything that is going to back them up aside from their talent and their acumen. And they just have to rely on their talent and their acumen in order to make the characters presented by these actors come alive. And I have to say, I think these people behind the cameras, they did a magnificent job of that. Excuse me, I'm taking off my glasses here for a moment.
No one can see
their
you.
work improved this film immensely. And as an illustrator, let me just say, it's like a fab painter who knows what to do when they are limited to merely Cinnabar Red, Mars Black, and Titanium White, using only 3 bristle brushes and 2 sable brushes on a very cheap canvas, but they might make something that is considered a sci-fi or horror classic in terms of art for decades. And that's the way I feel about Cube. I
Okay,
mean, it
pause
may
it.
be a bottle episode, and it may be
Pause it. Okay. I don't know
No,
what
let's
the
just get through it.
No, I just
Please,
want to
for
say
the
this. I
love
just
of
want to say this.
God.
I just want to say this. I don't know what the fuck you just said, little kid, but you reached out and you touched a brother's heart. Okay, keep going.
an episode that is completely reliant on presenting a very significant psychological tableau. But I think Cube managed to do this better. I'm sorry for saying this, I really am. I think it managed to do it better than anything we saw in Star Trek TNG. And I also
What? You're
think
crazy.
I'll be in big trouble for saying this. I think it
Yeah.
did it better than most of the episodes of the X-Files. I think it
I've
was
never seen
at
it.
least as clever and intelligent as anything we saw in the X-Files or Blake's 7 or
Fuck
even the
Blake 7.
1960s Outer Limits when you
Okay.
take into account
Yeah,
leverage,
now he's
figuring
he sounds
out
like
what
me.
prime numbers mean in regards to the traps. It just
Oh.
it
Hmm?
is what
Go on.
sci-fi should be to people with questioning minds because the entirety of this
Hmm?
film is about asking questions. No pun intended. And the intelligence behind such things means that this film is superior to all such Garbaggio films. Credit to you, Claubi, Garbaggio, that's your word.
No, it's
But
not. It's everyone's word.
first of all,
Garbaggio is
it's
universal.
fine. It had a very good premise. It carried that out in a beautiful way. But the rest of the Saw films can basically suck.
That reminds me, that was going to be my intro before you asked to take my intro. That's how I was going to introduce this movie. This is an
Do you want to do the
amazing
intro? Do you want
3D.
to do the
No, no,
intro
no, no,
now?
no, no,
All right.
no. Just let me say what I'm saying.
Okay.
I was going to say this is the great 3D puzzle sci-fi where people get out of traps, but it is way, way better than Saw. I think this is way better than Saw. I don't think it makes
Agreed.
sense to compare it to TNG or Twilight Zone, which are
Mhm.
That was just
amazing.
showing off.
Yeah. Those they're amazing, but they're more than horror. But comparing it to Saw is perfect. and I think this is better than Saw.
Cube's ass.
Cube's
And they
ass.
are inferior
What?
to Cube.
Cube's ass.
I mean, survival and the way survival plays out in this film and the way that intellect means you have a chance at survival. This film presents
Stop.
that in a juicy way, which other films do not.
That's why this movie is so terrifying, is that there is, even if you are the most clever person in the cube, there is no way out. That's why it's terrifying. Even if you think you are so clever that you can outwit the cube, no, sorry. And it is like startling that the only person to escape the cube arguably is just going to move on with their lives.
And the person
and
who was
not
right
even
all
pay
along.
attention.
Yeah, right. He's not going to be able to tell anybody about it. He can't express it.
A
in a way-
nonverbal autistic is
Yes.
the one
He's
who
verbal.
wins.
He's verbal.
Well,
but he
yeah,
can't-
but you understand where I'm coming from. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
I'm just
He can't
saying.
get
I'm just
across-
being precise
he
here.
can't get across he can't get across complex ideas. He can do complex math, but when someone says when they find out that Quentin is the murderer, And later on, when he starts crying, this guy, Kazan, has sympathy for Quentin. He pets him on the head, and he's the only one who doesn't treat him like the killer that he is. And so
True.
I don't know exactly what his reasoning behind that is, but he does have a lack of awareness in some factors and genius in others.
I got that as there's a certain level of empathy, but there's a lot of fear there. And I got the impression that he was patting him. He was doing something to him that other people do to Kazan himself to calm him. So he's like, be calm. Don't hit anybody anymore. Be calm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that actually worked. He didn't become violent at that time.
So that was that. And that's very intelligent on an innate level.
It was. You were right.
Yeah.
And also gutsy, because who really wants to approach somebody who you know is a murderer?
But whether or not he's going to be able to tell the complete story, it doesn't matter, because people probably don't respect him as much as they should, and they probably wouldn't believe him if he could, even if he could express what he experienced.
Yeah, I suppose in horror films, that's the way these things go. This take is always a sort of nihilistic for me, not my happiest ending of endings, but I know there are other horror films that I really respect that do end in similar ways, so I shouldn't just discount it because of that.
But I do like how what was said at the very beginning when Ren said, "You got to save yourselves from yourselves," and that ends up happening exactly. I'm gonna finish what Hungry said.
And that's why I adore this film. I always will. And I hope the rest of you guys feel the same way I do. If not, well, I'll take my lumps.
Go fuck yourself.
Happy Friday the 13th. And very soon, happy All Hallows. Giddy up. Love you guys. Bye.
I love you.
Yes, happy Halloween. It's not just a day, it's a season.
Look, and here's Vincenzo Natali.
Oh, cool.
Vincenzo Natali's website. Chenzo.
Yes. The C in Italian is generally a cha. It took me forever to learn that. I'm just passing it on.
Appreciated. Oh my God, yeah. I've never seen these posters. These are great.
Incredible. That's awesome. Quentin. Yep.
I've seen this one. Oh, okay. My daughter needs me for a minute. I will be right back. Oh, look. I used to cut these out all the time to make my own little cubes.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I'll be right back.
So it's always good to...
That was the Tetris theme as performed by Scotty R37.
Ah, that's funny. I didn't recognize it as such, and I am, of all, I play very few video games, but Tetris is one.
Tetris is kind of universal, and I apologize for butchering the theme.
I'm trying to decide if it's always the same theme in Tetris or if it just varies depending on which version you're playing.
Oh, you can pick even on the Game Boy version, you can choose your soundtrack.
I just play free online.
Well.
I would have bought a copy, but never could find one and then I've not had luck with games on the computer. And I don't have any kind of station to play on of any type. I don't really do that. I don't game.
Okay.
If I was any better at it, I might have, but I'm just not good at it.
You might be able to get it on your phone, but
no, I would not do that. I will never. You will never catch me doing that. I'm not going to be one of the phone people.
You don't go on the toilet?
I do not lean over my phone 24/7 like most of the people that I know do. No.
My phone broke, and I am feeling so
liberated.
Yeah.
I use my phone to make phone calls and text. It took me a long time to pick up the texting. I really fought it.
Well,
but
this is the weird
it has
thing.
Its uses.
I've told people that my phone is broken, And they're like, so what are you going to do? And I was like, for now, nothing. I'm happy that I don't have a phone. And they're like,
and I
how
do
can
take
you?
photos with it, which is really good. As
I
the
miss
professional
the camera.
photographers say, the best camera is always the one you have with you.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I remember having a conversation with a photographer many years ago. And I said, I feel like a photographer because I see things and I'm like, that would make a good picture, but I don't have a camera.
But you have a phone.
No, but I have eyes and a memory. And so they're just for me.
That's just kind of what digital photos are anyway these days. How many of us really go to the trouble to make a copy? I need to kind of get behind that and start translating, digital photos into something tangible. I do know people who have the little frame that sits on a counter or your table and actually plays the digital photos one after the other. That seems kind of clever.
It is clever.
But
The
I do
only
need
downside of that is that I broke up with a woman and I went back to
Recently?
her apartment where I lived. No, this was ages ago.
Okay.
So it's not heartbreak, it's just a description.
Okay.
And I went back and it was one of those electronic frames and it was replaying all of the happiest memories that we had shared together. But we had been broken up for a month. And I was like, you didn't like plug that in. I didn't see it as her being, oh, I remember Scott and the happy times we had together. I saw it as laziness that she hadn't actually plugged in the USB to the picture frame. And so it was just a strobe light as far as she was concerned. So no, I enjoy those as a product, but it was disheartening after she had broken up with me to go back to after a month.
I mean, it takes a long time to clean up the detritus of a relationship, particularly if it's been a longer relationship. It's everywhere. It's all around you.
It was a long relationship. It's not like it was flash.
Well, then no, I don't. You cannot hold her responsible for that.
I do. I hold her responsible for
so
many things.
If she really hated you, she wouldn't have seen you in a month's time, and she would have just unplugged that thing and chucked it in the garbage. So
well, and now she
sounds like an intelligent person to me.
Well, of course she was still is an intelligent person. I wouldn't be with dummies.
No, I mean emotionally intelligent too.
Yeah, no, totes. No, there's a reason that we were together. I did, I enjoyed her company and I cared for her deeply. Why your
disdain of this? I don't think that was
because of spite. Tiger.
I'm sure your rubbish was all through her place and you were probably going back to pick up your boxes.
I was. The only box that I couldn't pick up was hers.
Oh.
Come on, that's hilarious.
No, that's really vulgar.
No, come on.
You to a T.
It is me to a T.
Don't ever miss that chance to make a non sequitur sexual reference that's completely unnecessary and does not add to the conversation. You just be
Sounds like me.
Yep.
Sounds like me.
Yep.
So what did you want to talk about?
Oh,
hello.
I don't know. I don't think Jill is particularly political, so I don't think I can go political.
Here. Cam, hi Cam. Hello, everyone on the panel and chat.
Berta praces very nicely. How dare she enjoy Scotty's memory without him there? So
exactly
in your face and up your nose, Scotty. Kapla.
I don't know. I missed that whole story, so I get to listen on the replay.
Yes, you didn't miss much.
Shut up,
you. It
you.
takes practice to get good at games. I hope you give it the good old college try. Well, I may. However, I did flunk out of college more than a couple times. So.
But you made it.
My college and my university fired.
I'm not hung up on this completion thing.
But these are behind the scenes images for the movie.
Oh, they're wonderful too. Really wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Holy jeez. There's one of him with Holloway with her head on his shoulder. It's really ghoulish.
I thought that was funny because they're like, "Oh, we like taking pictures together." And
well, people did that. I can remember back when Alien was new. There was a behind-the-scenes picture. Somebody put their brand new baby into the alien's arms. It's a very happy baby, so it just goes to show.
Oh, I lost my Ethernet. What happened?
Oh no. Well, I can still hear you.
Okay, good.
Still here.
For a minute, you cut out, and I got everything back now. I don't know what's going on today. Funky times.
It's Friday the 13th.
It is Friday the 13th. Beware. Look at the scaffolding.
But yeah, I bet.
Well,
I'm gonna
go get a haircut.
Ah.
Well, yeah, you got
figures.
6 minutes. You can go get a haircut in 6 minutes.
All right,
You have to wait, though.
I do.
You said
But we
I'm
don't
under
mind
contract. You
You're
know
not
what?
under-
I
you could-
paid
you know
you
what?
$2 earlier today,
That's
and
true.
I
You
thought
bought-
that
you
would
bought-
give me credence
you bought
to
6
leave
minutes,
whenever I
guess.
wanted.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, 6 minutes.
Honestly,
6 minutes.
6
honestly,
minutes. You got to stay bitter end. You're not cutting.
I
it on
will.
me.
I will.
Darn straight.
But the truth of the matter is, you can leave whenever you want. You don't even have to be
Nope.
at all.
No, the agreement. The
We're all
agreement
this-
is 6
We're
minutes.
all in this cube together.
Yeah, exactly.
We came
This
in together.
lemon
We go
is
out
worth
together.
something.
I don't know how many pictures there are, but these are cool.
These
cool.
are really cool.
And Cam says it's wonderful to see you as always. And Franco says I write my own computer games. That way I have a chance of winning.
Nice.
Franco, amazing.
That is so cool.
Stacking
That's
the deck.
incredible.
Wow.
Ah, body
Oh,
horror.
that's it. That's the last one.
You're gonna traumatize poor
Oh,
bird of
yeah.
prey.
I did that already. Oh, there was a comic book? What?
Wow.
Nice.
Well, that makes sense. That's kind of what you do these days. You want to franchise something, and why not? Make your money.
Why isn't it loading? Oh, there it is. He was ruthlessly beautiful and compelling as a geometrical theorem, a significant debut for a gifted writer and director. But David Cronenberg said that.
That's a very nice blurb. They don't get.
You know
better
what the
than that.
downside? You know the downside about David Cronenberg.
Do I want to know the downside of David Cronenberg?
He was in Star Trek Discovery.
He was?
Yeah. He
I
plays.
didn't know that.
Yeah. David Cronenberg. Because, again,
Oh.
Discovery is a Canadian production. It's filmed outside of Toronto. I know a Klingon. Everyone should go and subscribe to Ludish on Twitch. But, yeah. So, David Cronenberg has thrown his hat and glasses in the ring of the film.
Oh my god! This isn't just a comic book, it's a choose your own adventure. You can turn to page 8 if you choose to go through the top hatch.
Oh wow,
The front hatch.
That's
go to page
amazing.
very
9.
cool. That's very
Oh my
cool.
God, that is awesome. I love choose your own adventure.
Oh my God, that's a great snikt.
And so and
The end.
Yeah. And
Over.
Each
Number 9. You smell something? Is that gas? The end.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. That would have been great to see.
And there she is with her little glasses on.
I don't know if everybody dies in this one. I can't really tell.
The end.
Oh, the
The
room is
end.
getting smaller. That would have
Crunch.
been cool to see too. Wow.
That would have been cool to see.
And this, if you picked number 12, then you survived. So which one was 12? That was
I don't know. You
the
got
right
the vote.
hatch. The right hatch, right here.
Mm-hmm. But they still have the same problem. So
Uh-huh.
you have
Yeah,
to
it's
go back to the
same.
beginning of the book. Turn to page 7.
I don't know. Maybe there's more. There's more comic.
It looks
and
like
then
that's
the end.
it.
Did I say hi to Cam? I wanted to say hi to
Cam
Cam.
Cam. I like
Did you?
saying Cam Cam.
Cam. Yeah, me too.
Cam
I
Cam.
love seeing Cam. Storyboards. There are storyboards.
Coob.
Wow.
That's something that's interesting, and the closing in of the cube would have been an interesting sort of phobia or terror that they could have presented in terms of it closing in on the people within the cube. That would have been an interesting sort of
Look,
terror.
Just
Tiger
violate
Stripes.
the whole idea of the cube. What?
Tiger Stripes, you were concerned that the cubing of the man didn't make sense because you only saw the fencing going one way. But here in the
Yes.
storyboard, it shows two fences to show how it would have worked.
Interesting.
But
Well, I know
we
that
didn't get.
after he was cubed, this thing folded up like an accordion.
It did.
But-
But you're right. We only saw that one fence.
I only-
So we didn't see the other one. But the other one was meant to be there.
I rewound it and looked again.
Yeah, it's not in the movie, but it's in the storyboard.
It's so funny that we still live in a world where rewind is a euphemism for going back when there is no film, there is no rewinding. It's just going back in an image. And I'm not saying this critically. I'm curious about the use. It's like, I taped it. No, you didn't. You recorded it. There is no tape. I didn't rewind
But
it.
it's a way of speaking. It
is. And again, I'm not saying this critically. I'm just curious about the vernacular.
I still say roll up your window.
Well, that's a good point as well. Same deal. You don't roll up. You push a button.
And I
Or
still
pull
say
a button.
album.
Yeah. Same deal.
Because
No album.
it's the totality of the work.
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I did, of course. Anyway,
No, it
it's
was
been
good.
6 minutes. I'm gonna go.
Well, let's. Okay, yeah, you can go now. Bye, Scotty.
May I?
Wait,
Thank
before you
you.
go, before you go,
We can
but you need to leave properly. So
Mhm.
tell us what you want to share today. And Mick, as a last word to you, Mick Phoenix says Disney. Well, he doesn't say it to you, but this is for you. Disney gets devastating news about the Marvels. There's zero interest, and the box office predicts a massive flop. So respond to that, and then tell us what you want to share.
McPhoenix, I am a Brie Larson fan, and I am looking forward to the Marvels. So there's
I'm going to
that.
interrupt here very quickly. I
Sure.
saw an ad on the television the other day that I feel reasonably certain was for the Marvels, and it was retitled.
What was it called? The
I
Marvelettes?
don't remember, but I don't
The
remember.
Supremes?
But it was no longer called the Marvels,
Supremes
and I don't know how it could have been
are
anything
way
else.
cooler.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I am a Brie Larson fan. I know that her off-camera persona can be off-putting, but I find her a dynamic and attractive performer.
I only like her in Scott Pilgrim.
Well, and that's where I
And she plays an
fell in
a-hole in
love.
Scott Pilgrim, though, doesn't she?
But yeah, but she's great in Room.
I don't
Like
want to see
I
Room.
enjoy Brie Larson. I think she is a charming performer, and so I have no ill will towards her, even though I am a straight white man.
Yeah, she doesn't care about your opinion anyway.
No, she doesn't care about me, but I speak highly of her.
That's
Anyway, in terms of what I would like to
Sure.
promote, first things first, Brie Larson. She has a YouTube channel. You should go subscribe to her. She does yoga, and it's hot. And then also on the Phantasmagorium, Kat and I talked about Fargo because we are going to be talking about Fargo, the movie, which we did last night, and the subsequent television series. We're going to be talking about season 1 in anticipation of Fargo season 5, which stars everyone's favorite man. Jill, who is it?
John Hamm.
John Hamm. So we are looking forward to the John Hamm season of Fargo, and we're going to start with the Martin Freeman, Billy Bob Thornton season. And
that's
yeah,
the Phantasmagorium?
it is. And yeah, so we're going to be doing that. Also, as always, please subscribe to Cinema Gulp. He is they are an amazing team, and they do amazing work, and they let me play from time to time. But yeah, and then also, when it comes to anything on the internet, first things first, subscribe to anti-derivative Jill. Sorry, new teeth.
Oh, you need to say it like anti-derivative Jill.
I know.
no.
I should enunciate.
Halloween.
Send money.
That's how Gil used to say my name.
Well, I think we should, still say it. It's very good.
True. Anyway, I love you both. I have had the time of my life. Thank you so much for putting up with me. I will see you in the future.
Yes, see you next time, Scotty. Thank you for
Get all
being
your
here.
hairs cut.
I will get all of them cut except for one, just to annoy you. I'll see you
Yeah,
future.
get your ears lowered, and I'll see you later.
I will. One of them is 0.2 microns higher than the other.
I would never laugh while he was in the room. I don't want to give him the satisfaction.
Okay. I don't mind, but yeah.
I know you don't. You're very dear that way. Well, thank you for having me to discuss Cube.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, I'm going a little nuts. Let's see. Let's fix this. There we are. And yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining the panel. It was so great getting a perspective of someone who'd never seen the movie before. Scotty, who's seen the movie a few years ago, he watched half of it last night.
Yeah, and another one of the reasons this might have been such a great movie and so beautifully made is that Vincenzo Natali is a storyboard artist himself.
Oh, he is?
He did uncredited work for Johnny Mnemonic. And
I love Johnny Mnemonic. That's such a great movie.
I love all Gibson. And he did credited work for Ginger Snaps.
You know what? I think I want to review Johnny Mnemonic. That's such a cool movie.
Oh, well, I'm all in. I'm all Gibson all the time.
I'm going to put it on my list.
He is in my top 5 authors. He might be my favorite author.
Well, and he really cares about the detail. The detail is very important.
But he gets characterization. He just nails everything. He gets it all.
Mm-hmm. This movie gonna make sense, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
Except for, I understand all of it except for the end of it. I need to study that a little bit more, but it is good.
The end of Cube?
That they did so. Yeah, it's good that they did such.
I'm happy that someone survived. True nihilism, nobody survives, and that annoys me as a viewer. It's not the kind of film I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, there is nihilism in this movie, but there's also some hope because you have Levin. Okay, so the end of the movie, they say, what do they say at the very end? They say something. What did we have to get out there? What is out there? And so Worth says
something like monstrous stupidity.
Yeah, I have nothing to live for out there. What is out there? Boundless human stupidity. You remembered it pretty well.
Yeah.
I can and
boundless. It's even worse. Boundless human stupidity. It's so funny.
And Levin says, "I can live with that," and she's all happy right before she gets murdered by Quentin.
Yes, and that again, ironic. I can live with that. The last thing she says. It's like, no, you can't. You're dead.
Well, you're not going to live with that, no, unfortunately.
Yes.
But wow, so much work. They really cared about what they were doing, and each of those cubes really were cared. Like all of the traps and how they work.
Just
and how
incredibly.
And
the editing is good, and the cinematography is good. The soundtrack is incredible. This is really a great. It's the best a low budget movie can it be. It really is. It's not. Yeah. I'm not so much into the horror. It really gave me the agita, but it was good. It was great. It was a great little. I mean, I don't even want to call it a B movie because that's kind of sneery. It was a great movie.
Agreed. And I appreciate you.
I can see why it's a cult classic.
Yes,
I'm happy that you're talking about it. I would not have known about it otherwise.
Exactly. It didn't make much money in the box office at all. It didn't make
Franco's
its money
saying
back.
goodbye. Bye, Franco. I loved your observation about cubism, Franco.
Yes, thank you, Franco. I was trying to finish a point there, but I just wanted to say it didn't make a whole lot of money in the box office, but where it made its money was, like you said, it becoming a cult classic, and it made millions in the DVD sales. And yes, of course. See you later, Franco Walker. He says, "Take care, everyone, and much love to you all." And we'll be going to. I think we got through everything I wanted to share about this movie, and I hope everyone enjoyed it and you're inspired to watch it yourselves if you haven't seen it, or watch it again if you haven't seen it in a while. Or just go watch Voyager, because there was a killer Voyager discussion in the comments today. So thank you guys for having that, and I always love the conversations that you have with each other, and I love there's always a lot of Star Trek love in my chat, and that is the best thing. Oh, speaking of which, here's Bird of Prey 5. This is his channel, and I want all of you guys who are still here, if you're still here and you like Bird of Prey, you should like Bird of Prey. He's really funny and insightful, and he has just a wonderful one-man show where he talks about all sorts of things. You never know really what he's going to talk about. There are a few things he's going to do. He's going to play a little Wordle, and he's going to tell you about all the different days and everything. So he's live right now. So if you're still here, please go do an anti-derivative Jill raid on Bird of Prey 5 because I love him. Also, well, another person who I love who streams on Friday is Retro Nerd Girl. So I got to mention her too. She's lovely and intelligent, and yeah, she is also streaming. She's talking about the best mature animated movies, which should be fun. So that's so you've got two options there, two incredible options from a couple of my favorite YouTubers. And then we have Retro Nerd Girl. Either one. Let them know I sent you, and enjoy, because they do some great work too. Unless, of course, you want to take Scotty's advice and go get something to eat.
Or go get a haircut.
Or go get a haircut. Yeah. So we'll see you guys next time. My next Star Trek review. Oh, wait a minute. Before I start all that, Tiger Stripes, did you have anything you wanted to share with us before we go?
Oh, I like to sing with Jedi Bill on Saturday nights. That's a blast. If you want to listen to us sing for a bit, it doesn't have to be the whole show, because he goes really late. I can't stay up so late. And one of these days I'll have a channel. That's it.
One of these days, yeah. I remember your Cara Dune action figure review. That was really cool.
You. Oh. And you or I were going to do Lord of the Rings, and then something interesting. This time last year I was taking that very seriously, and I made notes. And at some point, our dog, who has subsequently passed, not because of this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. She was a dear. She literally ate my notes, Jill. So I thought that was sort of hilarious.
Your dog really did eat your work.
She really did eat my homework.
And so on Tuesday, I'm going to continue talking about Star Trek, the original series. I can't believe we finished seasons 1 and 2, and we will be beginning season 3 in production order, meaning not broadcast order. So the very first episode is not Spock's brain, but Spectre of a Gun. And so I will leave you guys with the preview for that. And I will see you all later. Have a happy Friday the 13th. Be safe and well. Bye.
You shall be punished. You shall be punished. Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk. Yours shall be the pattern of your death.
I'm not.
Well, I'm glad to meet you. Glad to meet you, Mr. Kirk. Mr. Kirk.
Until 5 tonight to get your horse stealing, scurvy crew out of town.
The Earps will kill the Clantons at the OK Corral. At 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock.
Are the Clantons.
At 1 minute past 1 minute past, you'll find a hole in your head, right from the sky, from this gun.
We're not going to move from the spot.
Very shadow, illusions, nothing but ghosts.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the phone. Go outside. Get some food. It's like, you know, it's a time of day where you
Go
live.
do something.
Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.